Oh no. Careful with that. Be careful with that, yeah? Be very careful, careful. Steady on, steady on, steady on. Oh God! And Saturday morning came round like thunder. My goodness, we had a mad day yesterday, absolutely brilliant day yesterday. The other night, Thursday night, a bunch of dads were trying to finish off this pyramid stage. We just finished it in time, as you can see here. Check this out, this is unbelievable. Somebody turned up with a drone and filmed it. Look, this is a cardboard pyramid stage that we built, a bunch of dads, and a few mums helped as well, but we built a pyramid stage. We had a whole day of events on it yesterday. I mean, it was unbelievable, unbelievable. You won't believe this, but we actually launched it live on BBC Radio Somerset at 10 o'clock yesterday morning. We launched a dynamite rocket and it fired off. And what we want all of you to do, I can't keep up with all the stuff we're asking you to do. We want you to make paper rockets. They could be little ones like this out of loo rolls. Film them landing in your backyard, because we want you to convince the world with your imagination. We want you to pretend that that rocket landed in your yard, like it did for Leanne and the boys up there on Seacroft in Leeds, like it did for Rich Simpson and his family down there on the Isle of Wight. Let's fill this country with rockets. Let's fill this country with inspiration. Let's get our kids not just to aim high, but higher than high. We had a day and a half yesterday. I mean, look at this. We had our first talk yesterday, which is coming up today. Banks Theatre did a theatre workshop on the pyramid stage. It was off the scale, absolutely off the scale. We had a fantastic talk here from this super guy, one of a dear friend and an absolute rockhead, Finch, had a really heated exchange. Well, not a heated exchange, a very interesting, intelligent exchange with this guy. He's technically an anarchist. I don't care what he says. He's a flipping anarchist. And his views on education, off the scale. He dialed in from the States. You've got to see that. We had Chris Sullivan doing fire pit chats with Bob Elms. Bob Elms had a really lovely line. He said, profit is not bad. It's when what you do is just to make money, that's not good. And when profit's your aim or your motive. That was brilliant. John Mitchinson talked about how kids don't know how lucky they are, because only a few decades ago our lives, our world, our society was controlled by TV, and now that's out of control. Here we are making our own TV. Literally unbelievable. Last night we had a fantastic performance from little Lenny here.
I'm Lenny. I am cerebral palsy and I play great tunes. I'm going to play What a Wonderful World, then Hallelujah, then Lean on Me. Here we go.
That was one hell of a sight, an amazing sight seeing Lenny on our stage last night. Also this young lady as well, who came in with a piece of artwork that she created that we saw at Brewed the Arts last week. Fantastic. Teaching assistant from Bolton. She came in and talked about that and then sat and chatted with Charlie Phillips. But this really, I think, was the highlight for me actually, was seeing this piece of art. This artwork displayed the panel that we saw for the first time last night, the 3D backdrop on our stage. You know, if anybody's telling you this isn't real, it's in my mind, it's in my imagination, a snapshot of the creativity, the culture, the art. That man there works in the Houses of Parliament, all brought to you by the Arts Council with public funding from the National Lottery. Just unbelievable. Do you know what? I might just do that again with it behind me. Oh no, it's not going to do that again. Should we do it again? Let's see if we can do it again. Come on, do it again. You don't want to do it again? Well, not to worry. We've got all day to show you that. You're going to be sick of the sight of that by the end of this weekend, our display. We had the amazing Charlie Phillips up on stage chatting about his first ever Glastonbury experience when he used to go with Arabella Churchill, Winston Churchill's granddaughter. And this young lady here, Emily Capel, absolutely fantastic. Tonight we've got her, we've got Glenn Matlock and Earl Slick from the Sex Pistols, David Bowie's band, we've got the Kemp brothers, Gary and Martin Kemp, and a challenge went out to John Jackson from LGFL to do a song with Gold, the Spandau Ballet Classic, and they're trying to get some schools together to film that. I don't know how they're getting on. At 11 o'clock tonight we've got a massive DJ, superstar DJ, the guy who invented dance music, invented rave anyway, went to Ibiza in the 80s and came back and started Shoom and rave and acid house was all down to that man, Danny Rampling. Tomorrow night we've just got Martin, oh, I've forgotten his surname, it's in the programme. Let's have a look. Oh gosh, Rebellion Songs by Martin Joseph, who I saw a couple of years ago. He is going to blow you away. He's got an amazing song called Here Comes the Young, because that's what this is. Here come the young, and we've got to help them and send them on their way with a bit of spirit, a bit of attitude, a bit of art, and that's what we're doing this weekend. Fantastic weekend lined up for you today. We've got 2 amazing days today and tomorrow, an incredible night tonight. All it needs is you. What we're going to do now is go over to, we're running a little bit late, so I hate to say it, Malumba, we're half an hour late already, because I want everybody out there to do what we're trying to do here. I want you to make your own pyramid stages from bits of cardboard tubes like this. This is a guy, Will Alexander. Look, he made an ice cream van out of cardboard. If he can make an ice cream van out of cardboard, you can make a pyramid stage out of a few bits of cardboard like this. I've got some cardboard boxes kicking around. I'm not going to pick that one up because I know that's full of stuff. But check this out. You can get these big tubes from down your carpet shop. Get some of these. The carpet shops are open again because the coronavirus lockdown's lifted. Get some of this rope and build yourselves a den, and you can sit in it, you could sleep in it, you could have your lunch in it like we all used to when we were little kids. So that's what we're doing with cardboard. Will Alexander, I mean, he's amazing. He's an unbelievable guy. He even built himself a gondola and sailed down the Venetian canals with his gondola. So he's on another level. So what we want you to do today, we want you to download, before we go to Will Alexander, because I wanted to see half an hour of his workshop, I want you to download the programme. It's got a lineup for everything you need to see today. It's got the competition forms. You can win a robot. We've got a £500 robot, JD robot. We're going to be giving that away on Sunday night to whoever makes the best cardboard models. So you need to pay attention when Will starts. We've also got 3 copies of Anthony Horowitz's latest book, Nightshade. So he's going to write his name and your name in that book. So dear Nick, I hope you enjoy the book, Anthony Horowitz. How cool is that? We've got the programme lined up in here. And I also want to point one thing out to you as well. We have got a poster for something which I know is going to appeal to lots of mums and dads, and that is this. Why are my pages sticking together? That is this. Check that out. That is an advert for some real attitude. The art of beer. The art of beer meets the art of punk, because we've done a deal with the Co-op and they are providing us with some beer, and I particularly like this one. This is Punk, IPA Punk. These are empty children, so no alcohol in the mornings. Empty cans, but we have got 3 cases of Brewdog Punk IPA to give away. And what you've got to do, you've got to enter our Brewed Beer Fest, hashtag Brewed Beer Fest. It's all listed on here, supported by the Co-op, because the Co-op have got a brilliant range of craft beers. I've got a Co-op up the road, and they've got these amazing range of beers. Raspberry, here we go, look, I've got some here, I've got Brewdog, we've got Camden, got all sorts of things, but we've picked 8 beers that are exclusive to the Co-op. You can't get anywhere else. Go and buy those 8 beers, taste them, tell us what you think, stick a tweet or Instagram or Facebook post up, tag it, tell us you've done it. And the coolest post, and you're going to have to try hard, Mr. Dyson, if you want a case of beer, and you, Ed Finch, actually you're both in the posse, because we've sent you some beer, so you can't enter. Nobody who's in the team can enter, but you can inspire. We want some tweets, we want some socials. Hashtag Brewed Beer Fest. Hashtag your Glasgow, because it is your Glasgow, it's your Co-op. Give them a quid and you can own a bit of the Co-op. That's not a bad deal, is it, in anybody's book? So let me just cut over here quite quickly. I'm going to cut across here now, and I'm going to take you to Will Alexander. And another person who's on a scale with that is this chap we're seeing in a moment, who has been the inspiration for us, because he's a cardboard engineer. He makes things out of cardboard. We're going to see some of the cool stuff he's made today. But in the playground that you see behind me now is a shot of last night where we were literally building a pyramid stage from cardboard tubes and cardboard boxes. But they were not cardboard made from wood pulp, they're cardboard made from computer code, because that's a computer graphic superimposed over a photograph that I took 2 years ago when I was at Brookside Academy. I actually paid out another couple of £100 for an artist, an art of drone flying, if you like. A man turned up with a drone and he photographed the site from the air, and there is a photograph of that pyramid stage, finished, clad in cardboard. We're not going to see much more than that. Well, actually, I'll give you a sneaky peep. There it is, complete with children sitting in front of it. And if anybody says those children are sitting too close, there's no social distancing, I'm going to report you to the Department of Education, I think you need to get a life, basically, because it's a photo that was taken 2 years ago. It's a simulated image, it's a computer graphic, and if that's offending anybody, if anybody thinks we're winding people up, they don't understand the story, because the story, the strategy, the objective here is to bring the conversation about creativity in our schools, out of schools, and connect it with the world of work and wider society. And that's what we've been tasked to do. Darren Henley, the Chief Executive of the Arts Council, issued a demand, a call to all creatives 3 or 4 years ago in Sunderland after Brexit. He said, let's ask what if. Let's start a creativity revolution. Let's ask what if I built a pyramid stage in a school playing fields in Somerset. Let's ask what if a bunch of children were inspired. Let's ask what if people built pyramid stages in their own bathrooms, bedrooms, gardens. Let's ask what if they made them out of toilet rolls or big tubes, and maybe the kids made a den like I used to, with a ladder and a bit of blanket, and had my beans on toast and listen with mother. I could just hear it in the kitchen because the radio was too big to move under that little bit of blanket. But now kids can have tablets, so they can stream in with us, and they can take the Rocket Kids Club into their little den. And we want them to build pyramid stages like the one you see behind me here. And who better to inspire them to do that than the incredible, incredible man I've got on the screen here now. Will Alexander has got a cardboard box on his stage. Will Alexander, can you hear me? Because you are live on the Your Glasto live stream from Somerset. Will Alexander, hello. Wow, what have you been up to? This is fantastic.
Hi Nick, am I loud and clear?
You are very loud, you're very clear, and it's an absolute pleasure to see you this morning, young man. Fantastic.
Lovely to see you, Nick.
What have you been up to? Blimey, what have you got there? That looks fantastic.
Well, I have the pyramid stage from Glastonbury.
Wow.
Shrunk down to, I'm not sure what scale, but it's tabletop. And then in the background, I have some Glastonbury appropriate paintings, creating the atmosphere.
Absolutely wicked, wicked. Talk us through the building process. And I think it's important that people don't feel it's just prescriptive. This is just one way of doing it, isn't it? Obviously lots of ways of expressing your creativity and building a stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Just trying to turn the volume up.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm going to just talk a little bit about building a pyramid at home. You know, initially I thought, I'll collect a load of toilet rolls and I'll build it all out of toilet rolls. I certainly gave that a go, and this was my toilet roll version, which is quite fun as well.
I love that. That's fantastic.
So I just kind of went for it with the toilet roll version.
There's some
but it proved to be pretty tricky, actually, to get all the angles right, you know, and then actually to attach toilet rolls together and to make anything reasonably solid. But yeah, it can be done out of toilet rolls if you really want to. But I think my lesson from that was maybe when you get that little inkling of this is harder than it needs to be, you know, then return to the good trusted 2-ply and go for it, because obviously this flat cardboard certainly gives you the shape you need.
I think one of the things I'd say, Will, as well, actually, is that what we're trying to create here is is an art gallery, if you define an art gallery as a place where you put art, but it's your art gallery. So it's where you might put some pictures, some objects you find this weekend. You might even act a little play out in it. So, you know, it's very flexible. And I think what you're showing here is there's no one answer. There's no right answer. I mean, you had the triangles and the pyramid there. There was some maths going on there, wasn't there? And the triangles and the angles and the engineering and making sure.
The triangles. I mean, when I started doing that, doing the toilet roll version, you know, I just looked at some pictures and I thought, oh, that's about the right shape. I didn't do any research, and it wasn't working. You know, I wasn't making a pyramid, and I did have to do a little bit of research. I had to find out what the pyramid at Glastonbury is based on. You know, and it's based on the Great Pyramid at Giza, isn't it?
Oh dear, we seem to have lost Will there. Sorry about that, everybody. We'll have to come back to Will in a minute. But I'm sure you get the idea. If you want to be building a theatre, a pyramid stage like that you can use as a theatre or that you can use as an art gallery, I'm sure Will's given you lots of ideas to be getting on with there. So you could be making your theatre while you stay on, because I'm really pleased actually, because I've just noticed a couple of amazing people hanging around the festival here, like people do. And festivals are all about bumping into people, because anybody at the festival in theory is quite cool as long as you're with your mum and dad if you're quite young. And I've just bumped into a couple of people I saw yesterday, Kate and Sharon, who yesterday did a really good talk about making theatre and theatre. So I'm going to press that button there and that button there and that button there and then turn them up. Hello, Sharon and Kate. Fancy seeing you here again today.
Hello, I know, we need some new places to hang out, I think.
Oh, fantastic. Well, we've had a problem, but I don't know if you saw, but Will Alexander was showing us how to make a cardboard theatre, pyramid, gallery, whatever you want it to be. It's a pyramid stage. You did a really good session yesterday talking about theatre to everybody. Do you think you could sort of follow that on for maybe another half an hour or something? Would that be all right? You could do a theatre session for us? Brilliant, because I've got some cardboard.
We would love to.
Because I've got this, I don't know what your story is going to be about today, but I've got a pirate flag here. Let's check this out. Because pirates and punks are actually quite similar, and I've got myself a pirate flag, and I want to climb to the top of the pyramid stage here at Brookside Academy and stick it on the top today. I was up there doing it, and then Blumber phoned me and said I've got to go live, so I had to scramble down. So I've got my flag. I'm going to leave my flag there. Look after that, JD. So can I cut to you guys? I'm going to see if I can get my flag up. Is that all right?
Good luck
Thanks
with
a lot,
the flag.
and good luck with your show as well. Cheers then, guys. It's lovely to see you. What a lovely coincidence. Thanks.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Story Club with Bounce Theatre. I am Katie, and I have my wonderful co-host Sharon with me today. Sharon, what are we going to be looking at today?
Oh, well, everyone, we have got an exciting session in store for us today. We are going to be looking at the animal kingdom. We're going to be writing creatively about an animal, whatever animal you choose. And today we're going to tell our story slightly differently to how we told it yesterday. We're going to look at how we make a diary so that we can tell our audience what our animal is a little bit like and what they get up to in their spare time.
Oh, that sounds very cool. So, Sharon, what are some of your favourite animals?
Well, actually, Katie, it's funny that you should ask that. But when I was a child, my favourite animals were whales. They still are, really, but I found them incredibly interesting because, the blue whale, which is the biggest mammal on the earth, the heart of a blue whale is the size of a small car, and a blue whale itself is the size of a double-decker bus. Can you believe it?
It's mental. How do they grow so big? Because they're like pescatarians, aren't they?
Yeah, they eat a lot of I think it's called. No, actually, I can't remember the name of it, but they eat a lot.
Plankton.
Yeah,
Plankton.
Plankton. That's it, isn't it? And Katie, what are your favourite animals?
Oh, that's a tough one. I really like bears. I think they're quite good fun, and I really like, it's a little bit strange, you know how everyone likes cats, so I like cats quite a lot, but I really like the kind of mangy street cats that you get, which aren't very cute. I think I really like them.
Yeah. Oh, well, Katie, do you know what, it's funny that you should mention cats. Because today we're actually going to be looking at the biggest cat of them all. We're going to be writing a story about a tiger.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So Katie, shall I just take you through how you might write a diary entry about a tiger?
Yes, please. That would be brilliant. So I've got with me, I have my pen, I have paper, and I didn't know if we need it, but I've got some cardboard again, because, it's always good to have a spare bit of cardboard, isn't it?
That is great, Katie. I'm glad that you've got all of those things ready. But the most important thing of all that you need, have you got it, is your imagination.
Oh, oh no, I'm not sure I brought it with me today. Hang on, let me just have a look. But I've got another cat here. Do you think that cat's got an imagination or a little Daruma? Hang on. I think if I scratch my head enough, it might come out.
Is it there yet?
I think he's here. I think my imagination has arrived.
That's wonderful. Okay, well, let's get started then, shall we?
Yes.
So, the first thing, just to talk to you about, I've been mentioning the word diary a few times, but what is a diary? So, a diary is a book where people can keep a record of their daily experiences and also their feelings, how they feel, if they feel happy, if they feel sad. They write down what they've been up to and how their activities have made them feel. And a diary entry can be a great way when you're doing some creative writing and telling a story to show a reader what your character has been doing and thinking. So, because we are looking at animals today, I'd like you to just decide what animal you would like to write about. Katie, do you have an idea of an animal that you would like to write about?
Yeah, I think I'm going to write about a grizzly bear.
A grizzly bear, that is a brilliant choice, Katie. So I'm going to go for a tiger. Katie's going to go for a grizzly bear. This animal can be someone who lives in a jungle, like a tiger, or an insect or a bird. It can be anything that you like. As we said yesterday, there is no right or wrong when it comes to creative writing. So I decided to write about a tiger, but I realised that actually I didn't know that much about tigers. So in preparation for me writing this diary entry, I looked at the internet, I looked at videos on websites like National Geographic and YouTube. And I also read a few articles just to teach me a little bit more about the tiger so that I could make my diary entry even more, I suppose, realistic. So I want to ask some questions for you, Katie, just to help you so that you might be able to think about what you need to read up on about the grizzly bear to help your diary entry be even better. Are you ready, okay, Katie? Can I ask you some questions?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so you might want to just look into these questions when you're writing about your animal. So, where in the world does your animal live? Is that a hot place? Is that a cold place? Are there people around? Because all of that is going to help you to decide where to set the landscape for your diary entry and your story. Okay. What does your animal eat? Katie, any idea what you think a grizzly bear might eat?
So I believe they have a bit of a soft spot for salmon.
Yes, I've heard that too, exactly. So if you were writing about your grizzly bear, you might write about a time when they try and catch salmon, maybe in a stream or something like that. Yeah. How does your animal move around? Are they quite quick? Are they slow? Do they slide on the ground like a snake? Do they go and jump through trees like a monkey? How do they move? Where does your
grizzly bear, from when I've seen it, they move with their entire bodies, kind of from the torso. That's where their movements kind of emanate from, and they're kind of slow, and sometimes they look a little bit funny when they move, like if they're going down the mountainside after they've been hibernating in winter, they sometimes kind of skid and slip or go on their bums. Quite good comical movers.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Katie. Yeah. And you could even, just to help you really get into character, you could even do some movements in your house, helping you to imagine what it might be like for your animal moving around the place that they're at in the world. The next question is, when and where does your animal sleep? So I know a whale sleeps they're still in the sea when they sleep. So yeah, does your animal sleep in a tree? Does it go to somewhere like a cave to have a rest for the night? Where do they sleep? What do you think for the grizzly bear, Katie?
So bears like to sleep somewhere quiet where they're not going to be disturbed, or where another bear's not going to pick a fight with them. So when they hibernate, which they do for months and months in winter, they'll go high, high up onto the mountains and dig a hole, like a nest in the mountainside, and they will sleep in there for months.
Wow, that is amazing. Can you imagine just sleeping for months and then waking up? Imagine how energetic you would feel after that.
I know. Imagine all the dreams that you'd have.
Yeah, incredible. One last question, Katie, about your animal. Does your animal spend time with other animals, or do they tend to live alone? I don't know if you know that for the grizzly bear or not.
So grizzly bears tend to be quite solitary animals. They don't really like to hang around with too many people. Well, or bears. The only time you might see a lot of bears together is when there is the salmon run in summer, and all the salmon go home to lay their eggs, to have their babies, and the bears know this. So they go to where the salmon go upstream so that they can eat them. But other than that, bears pretty much hang out by themselves.
Wow, thank you, Katie. I'm learning so much right now about grizzly bears. I did not know all of this.
Who knew we were going to be taken here today?
Exactly. So now that we've just had to think about some of those questions, the next thing that you need to do is just to make your animal into a character. We know about how the animal lives, we know maybe where it lives, what it eats, all of that. So now you need to decide, what is your animal like? So for example, are they friendly? Do they get along with other animals? Do they get along with people? Are they lazy? Can they not really be bothered to hunt? Or sleep or really do that much? Are they angry? Do they have an attitude problem? Do other animals in the forest that they live in actually not really like them very much? Are they silly? Do they do clumsy and funny things that might get them into trouble, like maybe a monkey? Are they shy? Do they actually just want to be living alone, but they unfortunately have to be in a pack of different animals? Are they a show-off? Do they try and do things to get a response or a reaction from other animals? So those are, just pick maybe a characteristic for your animal. Katie, have you got one for your grizzly bear that's going to make your diary entry for the grizzly bear even more interesting?
Yeah, I think so. So I really liked some of those adjectives you were using there. They were really good. So I have chosen 3 to describe my grizzly bear character. I think my grizzly bear is clumsy. I think that they are constantly hungry. And also I think they're quite a friendly grizzly bear. I don't think they like being by themselves all the time.
Ah, that's lovely. And so now that you've chosen those 3 adjectives, that might change some of the action that happens in your story. Maybe your story is about a grizzly bear who actually is trying to make friends, and that's their mission. That's the thing that keeps your story moving. Maybe they are clumsy and they make a mistake which has really difficult consequences that then during the story the bear needs to solve, maybe with the help of some other bears around. So all these things can just help you to plan a really interesting story. Katie, I'm just going to ask a few other questions that might help you to make the story.
Okay.
What is your animal's name?
I think my animal's name is Melody. Melody the
Melody.
grizzly bear.
What a lovely name, Melody. I love it. So everyone else at home, you can think about what your animal's name might be as well. Next question for you, Katie. How old is Melody the grizzly bear?
I think Melody is about 5 years old, but obviously in bear years, that's quite a bit older than in human years. I'd put her at about 20 in bear years.
Okay, yeah, 20. That's good to have in mind. Where does Melody live?
Melody lives in North America.
Brilliant. And does she have any family or friends there?
Yeah, I think she has got some friends who are otters who live in the streams and the rivers where she goes to find her salmon.
Wow, fantastic. And what is her favourite thing to do? I think I might know what this is, but let's just see if there's something surprising that Katie's made up.
Her favourite thing to do is, so Melody the grizzly bear is not very good at hunting. So what she does is she works with the otters. The otters catch her salmon for her, and then she just pretends that she's caught them and eats them up.
Wow, that's a great idea. Very clever of her, I think. That's great. So well done, Katie. So the next thing, everyone, that we need to do to finally be able to write our diary entry is to plan 5 things that happen to your animal during their day. To make your diary entry a bit more interesting, and as we said yesterday, how to make a story really good, it's better if you think about a problem that your animal needs to solve. So maybe for Melody, that problem would be that she doesn't really like hunting and she needs to find some other friends to do it for her. So really use your imagination. And remember, your animal doesn't have to live in their natural environment. So for example, what would it be like if you had a hippo that lived in the River Thames in London, or a giraffe that was hanging out in your local shopping centre? So there's no right or wrong, just use your imagination and see where it takes you. What do you think about that, Katie? Would you like to do that?
Sharon, there was a cow that got stuck in the River Thames. It had to be rescued.
Really? And Katie, was it all right?
It was, yeah, it was. It was fine.
Oh, thank goodness. That's brilliant. Now, so we're going to tell you a story in a moment. Katie's going to read it to you about a tiger who is called Henry. And it's a story that I made up. But before Katie tells you the story, I'm going to do something that's called hot seating. So I'm going to ask Katie. Katie's in the character of Henry the tiger. And I'm going to ask Katie a few questions as Henry, just to find out a little bit about what Henry is like and Henry's life. Are you ready, Katie?
Yeah, I was thinking before you jump in and ask me questions about Henry, could you, because you're the writer, so as an actor and director, it's really, really special and exciting when you get to be able to speak to the person who has written the story or the play, to really get into their head to see what they were imagining when they wrote their story. So Sharon, this is obviously yours. So what did you see Henry as being like, or what inspired you to write this story?
Yeah, so great questions, Katie. So for me, it was really helpful to think about the adjectives that I would use to describe Henry to someone else. And the main adjective that I had in mind when I was writing about Henry was that he was lazy, and that he was a tiger who had to appear very tough and do lots of work to defend his territory, to defend his area, because that's what you have to do as a tiger. But actually, to be honest, Henry couldn't really be bothered. All he wanted to do was just have a nice mud bath. So yeah, that was really what I had in mind when I started writing about him.
Okay, thank you, Sharon.
Okay, so you ready for some questions, Katie?
I'm ready for some quick fire questions, and I will see where my imagination takes us.
Great. Let's see. So, Henry, it's very nice to meet you. My name is Sharon. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day, your busy day as a tiger, to speak to me. How are you today?
Bit tired.
Oh, I understand. Well, I won't take up too much of your time. Just had a few questions if I could ask you those.
Yes. I'm quite hungry though. Can we be quick about
Oh,
this?
well, yeah, actually, I've got a banana here. Would you like that? Would you eat that?
No, no, I'm a tiger. Ah! I
Oh,
eat
oh,
meat.
sorry. Oh gosh, yeah, sorry. That was a really stupid question, Henry. Sorry about that.
What about
Um,
you?
Henry, sorry. Obviously, you've got a lot of things that you need to do. What would you rather be doing than being here talking to me?
Well, I'd rather be taking a mud bath or maybe scratching my back on a nice tree.
Okay, and Henry, do you have any friends, like, anyone in your life that you like to hang out with? What's a day like for you normally?
Well, well, actually, I'm a very friendly tiger. Um, but people seem to be quite scared of me, and I don't know why, because I mean, sometimes I eat them, but generally, I just want to, take a bath or just see how people are doing. But everyone runs away when I come near.
Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that, Henry. And how does that make you feel?
A bit sad.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Henry. Please, don't cry. Look, actually, I've got something that might cheer you up. I've actually got a lot of mud, in my bath downstairs. Would you like to take a bath there?
Yes, please. But do you have a towel for afterwards?
Um, yeah, I'm sure we can arrange that.
Thank you, Sharon.
Well done, Katie. So you just see there, everyone, how Katie has become the character of Henry the Tiger, and how also that Katie, did you find that helpful just to think about if you were to write a diary entry for Henry, how you might write that?
Yeah, that was super helpful. I think I saw a side to Henry where he was actually a little bit lonely and just wanted to make friends with people and hang out.
Very true, yeah. So, have a think about before you write your diary entry. It might help you to ask a family member to ask you some questions about the animal that you choose. Or you could even draw a picture as well, just to give you a few more ideas about what they look like, and what it looks like where they live and spend their time. We've got something exciting for everyone now, haven't we, Katie?
Yes, we do. So, as we said, Sharon has written a story in the form of a diary entry from Henry the Tiger. So Sharon sent me this story earlier, and I am going to read it out to you all. So if we are all sitting comfortably with our whatever you want, your ice cream or your popcorn, or if you're outside, the heavens have just opened where I am, so with your umbrella maybe. So let's get going. This story is called A Day in the Life of Henry the Tiger, and it begins. I growl loudly, pounce on a tree, scratch it up and down with my paw, I can see the orange and white of him through the leaves and branches. He takes 2 steps forwards, so I take 3 and stare into his yellow eyes. He groans. I hiss, and this 3 times louder. The other tiger rolls on his back and makes high-pitched sound. He stalks back into the forest with his tails between his legs. I am the winner! Boom! This is still my hood. Phew! I'm knackered. Being a tiger is really draining sometimes. You have to look tough and patrol and protect your territory, and really all I'd rather be doing is sunbathing and chilling with some bird song and wild boar to munch on. Is that too much to ask? But nope, you've got to do the other stuff too. I make my way to the swamp for my morning bath. The air is hot and the water's cool. I lie back and float. Finally, the relaxation I deserve. I let the mud coat my fur. This is my version of what you humans call a spa day. Then I hop down to the river for a snooze in the sunshine. I deserve it. I drift off and let my eyelids drop until... You've got to be kidding. The hyenas. Every day. They are so annoying. They're not even funny, but it's giggling here, chuckling there, cackle, cackle, cackle. How is a hard-working tiger supposed to get any sleep around here? I give them 3 hisses, a moan and a groan, and then they shut up. For you. But then my tummy rumbles. After all that activity this morning, boy, am I hungry. As I walk through the jungle, I hear the other animals tweet and squeak and sing, raising the alarm that I'm on the scene. It's very unwelcoming sometimes. I know I do eat a lot of my jungle companions, but still, we can be on friendly terms, at least before I have them for dinner. I take a prowl over the hilltop to the village. Those silly humans start running as soon as I turn up. Again, so rude. I can't eat all of them, even if I wanted to. And also, I'm not really here for them. They're a bit too bland for me. What I'm after for my afternoon snack is a donkey. I spot one trotting down the road, swoop on it, jump up in the air and pounce. Yum o'clock. After all that, I can tell you, I am exhausted and ready for another nap. I love those things the humans sleep in and decide to go in one. All the humans run off again, giving me the quiet I need. I find a lovely space with some soft material in it. Let out a huge burp and close my eyes. Finally, some rest. It's a hard life being a tiger. The end.
Wow, well done, Katie. That was amazing hearing that story brought to life. Thank you.
Sharon, it's such a wonderful story. It's so much fun to tell it, and I think all of the different sounds which you create and the atmosphere in the jungle is really wonderful.
Oh, thank you, Katie. That's great. Well, I actually have a question for you.
Okay.
Katie, do you have any top tips? Because what you did really well just then was you really got into the character of Henry, and I could just imagine what he was like. Do you have any top tips for anyone watching today about, as an actor, what helps you to get into character?
So I think one of the best things that helps me get into character is thinking about the environment where I live. So whether you're playing a human, a tiger, a grizzly bear, a tree, it's really important to understand how where you live affects you and impacts on you. So with the tiger, I can really imagine that every time he moves and walks, he's kind of weaving his way through the jungle. Another top tip is always to think about what you want. So this tiger wants to rest and wants to eat. They're his two main things. So having those to drive you forward so that you're always trying to reach those things is what I think is really helpful.
Thanks, Katie. That's a great idea. I'll remember that if I have to play a character in the future. That's really good.
Excellent, cool. Thank you so much, Sharon. I wonder if we could pass back to Nick now.
Yeah, we've reached the end of our session today, but we will be back tomorrow with some more story writing activities for everyone.
Yeah, we will. And tomorrow as well. So the main thing about the Story Club, actually, it's not me and Sharon. We take a back seat a lot of the time because the main thing that we want to get out of Story Club is for you guys at home to write your own stories. So every Friday, we look through the stories that we have received and I will perform some of them on Facebook and Instagram, which is really, really good fun. But really, we want to hear your stories and your voices. We have had a few times where we've had one of our Story Club regulars, Otis, reading out his poem, which we posted on Facebook. And we have had other children recording their stories to send to us as well. And it's such a joy to hear them. And I think the magical thing about Story Club is understanding that anyone can tell stories.
That is exactly right, Katie. Yeah, all you need is your imagination, and there is really no right or wrong. It's all up to you.
Yes, absolutely. So I wonder what is happening next on Nick's programme of events. I loved what he was talking about earlier. And I was really inspired by the assistant teacher from Bolton as well and her artwork. That looked really, really lovely.
Yeah, I wonder what is happening on the pyramid stage. And also, I really, like you, Katie, I really liked what Nick was saying about the importance of the arts and how it can help everyone in their everyday life and how it is for everyone, no matter who you are, how old you are, what you do, everyone can get into it.
Yeah. So Sharon, how did you get into the arts? How did you kind of discover that you love theatre and storytelling?
That is a great question, Katie. So when I was in my primary school, when I was about 6, a theatre company came into my school and they ran a workshop for us on being an explorer of the world, and we got to make binoculars from paper, and we got to pretend that we were going all over the world when actually we never left our classroom. And for me, that just had an impact on me for the whole of my life, really. And then I've been lucky enough to work with children myself. So yeah, I think that was the really important moment for me. What about you, Katie?
So for me, again, yeah, it started at school. I was really lucky to have a brilliant drama teacher, and we got to make up our own plays in our drama classes and explore things that kind of mattered to us. And so I think for me, it was the first time that I felt that I could really kind of safely voice my opinion of the world around me and explore it and know that I wouldn't be challenged on it, I think. Like, people could challenge, we could talk about it afterwards, but you were in that safe space to say how you felt.
Yeah, and that's so important, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It really is. So, Sharon, what else are we going to be looking at tomorrow?
Oh, tomorrow we've got a really exciting workshop ahead of us. We are going to be looking at making treasure maps to help us to tell stories. How you make a treasure map of your flat or your house that you live in, and a treasure map of the town that you live in, but a treasure map with a twist, where somewhere that you thought appeared one way appears totally different, to help you make a story. So that's what we're going to be looking at tomorrow, Katie. It's going to be exciting.
That's really exciting. So do you know, I am from a place called Haworth, and Haworth is where the Bronte sisters come from, who have written some of the coolest stories that I've ever read. And when the Bronte sisters were young, they created maps of the entire world. So they had a complete alternate world which they would kind of jump into and make up stories about the queen who lived there. And this queen went on adventures all over the world. It was really exciting. So I think that that ability to make maps is such an important thing.
That sounds great, Katie. But we'll talk about that more tomorrow.
Hi,
Nick, did I hear you back now?
I did just nip back actually. I just had to go down the Co-op because the Co-op are are opening a new store in Pilton, which is a little village where Glastonbury is. And I just had to go. I just had to go and get myself a little bit more punk IPA lager. How did you guys get on? I missed the end of it. I'm sorry. I'm rushing around. You know, it's like
we had a lovely session, and we can't wait to be back tomorrow.
Brilliant.
And we'll hand back over to you, Nick. But thank you for having us today. And we'll see everyone tomorrow.
And I'll get the bingo balls out.
Thank you so much.
I'll get the bingo balls out tonight and just guess another time for a slot again, shall I? Sorry about that. That's all it. This is the wonderful world of festivals. It's funny because can you imagine what it's like me walking into a school when they're so organised, aren't they, schools?
Absolutely, definitely run to time in schools.
And then I turn up. It's a rock and roll life. It's a rock and roll life. Thanks so much for your time, girls and ladies.
Thank you, Nick.
Actresses.
Bye, everyone.
See you tomorrow.
Bye bye.
Happy festival, everyone.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. Oh my goodness me! I haven't brushed my teeth or had a shower yet. What's the time? 1 o'clock. Oh my goodness me! And it's my wife's birthday as well. Happy birthday, Amanda. Lots of love from everybody in the house and here at York Glasgow. Oh, do you know what? I'm going to get my lumber on. He's thinking, oh no, don't do that. Well, I am going to. I am going to get him on. That's my lumber. That'll be my lumber buzzing along. There we go. Right, let's see which window we need to get him in on. Oh, which one do we want? Hi, Malumba.
Hello.
How you doing? You got your green screen up, have you?
Good. How are you?
Very good, very good. So
you missed a lovely little session of tigers playing in fields and shopping malls. It was great.
Fantastic. No, they're super Banks Theatre, aren't they? I really like them. So I still didn't manage to get the skull and crossbones up either. Did you see me up on the top earlier at the start?
I couldn't quite make out, but yeah.
So I was literally on top of the pyramid stage at the start of the stream, and then had to come down. I haven't managed to do it. So what's happening now, Malumba? You're the man with the clipboard.
We're trying to find Rod.
Okay, so I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to Will actually, because I think he's still waiting to do that. That would be a lovely
idea. I was going to suggest that.
Will, I don't know if you've only just joined, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Will Alexander. Anything else to say, Malumba, before I flick you off?
Well, I think we're going to have a really beautiful afternoon, so people should
look
tune
over here.
in
Look,
and
we're
ask
over
their
here.
friends and make the magic of community come together.
Let us all connect. Look over here. We're over here. Look, you keep looking at your computer screen. Don't
Let
you?
us connect.
There we go. Keep looking. I'll tell you what I'm going to try. I'm going to put you on the green screen actually. Let's show everybody how this works.
Are you?
I'm going to give it a go because you've got a green screen there by the look of it. So if I do that, you're now there. It's not very evenly lit. That's the problem. Let's just see if this is going to work. So I go down here.
I've got another light. I didn't expect you to call. I'm going to put the light on.
All right. It's all right. we're making it up as we go along. This is all behind the scenes stuff that you wouldn't normally see at the BBC, really, isn't it? Let's have a look.
Is this a bit better?
Sounds like my breakfast's being run up the stairs at the moment. Let's have a look. Oh,
you've got somebody making you breakfast, do you?
Well, it's Amanda's birthday today, and I should.
You've got a catering service.
So we can do that. So that's Malumba on Malumba at Glastonbury. There you go. Can you see that on the screen? Take a second to come through. Your green screen's a little bit sort of mottled and a bit patchy, but it's sort of works.
I'll fix it.
Yeah, it's all right. Just need to get a little bit more even light on there, because the more I have to adjust this, it starts making your t-shirt invisible. So that's like a really cool piece of artwork now. If you look at that. The only trouble is I can only have one green screen thing, so I need to put myself in there. Where am I? I can put myself
It's
down.
still quite hot today, despite the rain and stuff.
Is it? Yeah. So I'm now.
Yeah, well, at least, I think it's the light. Maybe it's the lights in this room.
So can you see yourself on the screen? Have you got YouTube up? So I'm just behind you now. I can go behind you. That's pretty funky. That's pretty mad.
I can see myself. I'm on it. I can see myself on Facebook. I'm trying to find people to talk to on Facebook, and I'm going to go on Twitter soon.
Is that the story of your life, is it?
And YouTube. I'll spend a lot of time. Well, we've got the lineup for Sunday pretty sorted, so we might want to do a mail merge quite early today. That'll be lovely.
Great. Well, let's not worry about the details publicly now. So here's the I've updated the program. So if anybody's interested in knowing what's going on, get the program, because that's got the co-op beer competition in there. It talks about the cardboard competition. It's got today's timetable as well. I've just seen a typo there. Off main stage is at 4 o'clock. I need to change that. So that's available for download. So if anybody wants to know what's going on, get that. Thank you very much, Malumba. I might just flick you off now, if that's all right.
Wonderful. We'll talk to you later.
Bye bye. And we'll go to Will. Let's see what happens when I do that. There we go. Turn Malumba down. Fantastic. And we're going to go back to Will Alexander. Will Alexander is a cardboard engineer who makes just super cool stuff. Look at this. I mean, this is one of his creations, a cardboard ice cream van. And we're doing a competition. We want people to build a pyramid stage and then create art and put in it and do films and animations. So let's go back to Will Alexander, if we can re-establish that connection with him.
Isn't it?
Oh, there we go.
Having done that bit of research and found out about the first one being built in 1971, was it, in Glastonbury, and finding out that it's based on the Great Pyramid in Giza and that is based on a square with equilateral triangles. You know, once you've got the maths bit right, then it does start to take shape. But yeah, it was definitely tricky with that, and much easier with some nice, flat cardboard. You can draw out your square, you can draw out your equilateral triangles, and you can kind of just go for it. I don't know if most of the watchers know that the equilateral triangle obviously has 3 equal sides. I've done this one at 50 centimeters square base, but you could do it any size you liked, really, any size you liked, as long as you have a square base and 3 equilateral triangles for the back and a small equilateral triangle for the top here. So yeah, a square base. I mean, everyone can draw a square base. Even if you don't have a set square, all you've got to do is draw your 20 centimeters, do another mark further down, 20 centimeters. There you go. So all I would do is draw my 20 centimeters a couple of times, put on a couple of marks, 20 centimeters, 20 centimeters, 20 centimeters, draw my line, and there we go. So I can cut that one out super quick.
Sorry about this, everybody. Not too sure what's happened there. Just spinning and spinning and spinning. Let's have a look over here, see if we have much more luck here. Let's have a look. Sorry about this. How are you getting on? You getting anywhere with your cardboard modelling? Truth be told, I was trying to have my breakfast. But not to worry. Let's see if we can find that again. Oh. Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? What's the name of that clip? Right now, you're best to be part of it. Is it that one? I think it probably is, actually. I wonder why that stopped. We did have some problems with copyright yesterday, unfortunately. This looks like the same clip. Where do we get to? 48:39. Let's have that. Oh, that's about there. That's remarkable. No, that seems to be playing, so let's try this one. Number 6. Take that off there. We need a bit of a health and safety warning at this point, please, Will.
Pardon?
Can we have a bit of a health and safety warning about sharp knives and grown-ups and adults?
Oh yes, of course, yeah. When using a sharp knife, then make sure that you have a nice long ruler that you can cut along the edge so that it's not near your hands. Make sure that you cut away from your body, okay? If you are under the age of 12, certainly get some parental assistance when using a Stanley knife. Use scissors if you need. Scissors are absolutely fine for cutting cardboard. So, here we go. I have my nice square base, absolutely fantastic, and now I need 3 equilateral triangles. So again, I have my 20 centimeter length already. I'm going to go in 10 centimeters to find the middle. So I find the middle. And then I just draw a perpendicular line all the way up, and that will give me the center. That will give me the center of where my other 2 sides need to meet. Okay? So there we have it. There we have the center, because that's in line with the middle of the base. And that is essentially going to be like the top of the pyramid. The top of the pyramid, very important. The top of the pyramid channeled the energy of the sun. I have a little cardboard sun here in the middle of my kind of Glastonbury nighttime extravaganza. So here's my cardboard sun, and that energy will be coming down into the top of the pyramid. That is why they built it as a pyramid. That is why the first pyramid stage was built, because of this idea of channeling the energy from up above down into it. Okay, so super easy. Cut out my triangle. Again, I've got my Stanley knife here, got my strong ruler, so I'm not going to cut my hands. So here we go, 1 equilateral triangle, and it has the right size base to attach onto here. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, so I am going to need another 2 of those, and then I would be ready to move on. And I'm going to make it easy for myself. I'm going to use this line again. Find my 10 centimeters in the middle. Draw up to here, just get a rough idea of where the middle is. Funnily enough, it will be 20 centimeters from this last middle here. So that's a lot better. Yeah, the math side of it is very important. You know, the Egyptians were obviously big on math. And you will not get a nice looking triangle unless you do this type of thing. I mean, I must say when I was starting with the toilet roll version, I thought, oh, this will be easy, anyone can do this. And actually it was harder. It's a lot easier using the flat cardboard and using the toilet rolls. Though, as you see, I have used the toilet rolls for my lighting gig, and we'll come to those later. Now, just to show, it's not too bad cutting this out of with the scissors as well. So you can cut out your cardboard sides with the scissors, should you need. Here we go. Lovely and straight. Yeah, you do need to keep it nice and straight, otherwise you will not get a good join. So super. Couple of sides ready, and as you can see,
I don't know if you've have you got the video running there as well, William? Will, can you see the video on?
I mean, yeah, I can actually see the YouTube. Yeah.
So can you see? Can you see?
Find it kind of distracting.
Not to worry. Can you see the cardboard tube I've got here?
I can't actually.
It takes a few seconds to go through. I know there's a slight delay. Make sure you're up to speed. But basically, I've got one of those big cardboard tubes from a carpet shop just down the road.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah,
he's given me about
now. Yeah,
he's given me about 15 of those. Now with these, you could actually make a den, and you could actually get under it, couldn't you? So I'm thinking of nipping out up the park with Malumba maybe tonight, and we could maybe make one of those and actually have our tea in it tonight. That'd be cool. Have our beer festival in there.
Yeah, absolutely. you could certainly make a den with some big cardboard tubes, or even with some big cardboard boxes. You know, obviously kids love getting into their cardboard boxes, don't they?
I think it's got to be pointy though. The only thing we have to ask is it has to have a point on the top. And I would say that all weekend we are running a competition. The best cardboard model we get over the weekend could win a JD robot. This is an artificial intelligence robot worth £500, and we're raffling this, or not raffling it, whoever does the best cardboard model. Today it's the pyramid stage. Tomorrow, looks like he's putting glue on JD, doesn't it? Tomorrow it's spy gadgets, and we've got another amazing cardboard modeler who's going to show us some spy gadgets. And Sunday we're going to make robots out of cardboard. So there's something there for everybody, hopefully. All you STEM and STEAM and tech heads, that'd be fun. And in terms of prizes, we've got that. We've also got, check this out, spy gadgets tomorrow. We've only got the latest book by Alex Ryder called Nightshade. And Alex Ryder is going to write your name in it and sign it for you. So that's the third prize. There's 3 of those. And we've also got 3 little robots. Don't know where my little JD robot's gone now. Maybe I'll put him somewhere. I'll get him out later on. Oh, there we go. Look, we've got one of these. These are super little robots. These are little robots with wheels and motors, and they work with Lego. They're fantastic. They're usually £45. We've got a shop because we've got some of these imported from Australia. We'll show you those over the weekend. And we're also going to do some t-shirts for prizes. There's going to be about 20 prizes. And I don't know how many people are watching now. Let's have a look and see how many people are watching. 3 on YouTube. I don't know if anybody's there on Bill in Anchorage. Bill in Anchorage has just joined on Twitter. It doesn't tell me how many people are on there. And that's now got an error on it. But the point is, worth entering. Not to win, but to just get creative and have a fantastic weekend. And if you built a full-size one, you could watch Glastonbury in it, like your den. Sorry, Will, I was rabbiting away there. I'll let you get on with it. Sorry.
Yeah, that's great, Nick. No, nice to have a bit of distraction. So, I mean, all I did in that section was put a bit of glue along the edge of the cardboard and a little bit of sellotape over the top to just hold it in place while the glue dries. And then I've done the same on this side. And you can see that, you know, your pyramid can start to take shape pretty quickly.
So next up, I think we're running a little bit late, but it doesn't matter terribly because we've got a bit of time after. We've got a long lunch. Oh no, we've still got time. Yeah, we've got about 25 minutes left with Will. 11:30, we've got a theatre company coming in to talk about theatre and how you could make a theatre and how you could make a play inside your pyramid stage. Then we're breaking for lunch. Then we've got the amazing Mark Anderson. He's one of the cleverest people in Britain when it comes to technology and creative tools with tech. So apps and iPads and tablets and computers. He's brilliant. He's doing half an hour. Then we've got somebody from Brookside Primary, Marlon Edwards, is going to do some drumming. If you're watching Marlon, we can't wait to see you because we've heard that you got yourself a green screen, which means we're going to be able to put you in front of the school there. That's going to be brilliant. And oh my goodness, John Chase, we saw him at a festival, Camp Bestel, like a couple of summers ago. He's a rapping scientist, so he's brilliant. We've then got a school librarian from Birmingham who's going to talk about books and reading and give you some top books to read. Oh my goodness, this is brilliant. So we've got Knit Hawks at 4 o'clock. Now Knit Hawks, have you heard of a band called The Prodigy? They're a really big Glasgow band. Well, he signed them and manages Liam now, so that's amazing. So he's coming on to talk to you about if you want to get into the music business, if you're a DJ or a rapper or a musician, he's going to give you a few top tips and tell you his story because his story is incredible. I think somebody actually said he was one of the most influential people in British dance music once because he ran a record label called Positiva at EMI, so he's brilliant. We've then got Ed Finch and David Rodriguez. That's an adult one because that's all about the 80% we have in common. That 80%, because in fact we always argue about the bits over here. I don't want to tidy my bedroom, I don't like that for breakfast, those little things, but in fact we forget all the lovely things we've got in common. So I don't like my mum because she makes me eat Weetabix or healthy food, but I love all the other stuff. Education, there's lots in education that we argue about, but in fact the 80%, children and maths and reading and creativity, they're all there. So that's going to be a very interesting debate because David Rodriguez is a really quite a passionate activist on very, 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 very progressive education, almost anarchist. Then we're breaking till 7 and we've got Chris Sullivan, Fire Pit Chats, Robert Elms, John Mitchinson. Oh my goodness, we've got so much on tonight, but today's Lenny's Day. Little lad from Sheffield's going to play piano on the pyramid stage. That's going to be incredible. So how's Will getting on? Let's see how Will's getting on there. How you doing, Will?
Yeah, good. So I've just made this little 20 centimeter square base pyramid. As you can see, it doesn't take too long to knock one of those together.
That could be a little gallery.
One of the most iconic bits is this little bit at the top, isn't it? That sticks out when you're Glastonbury. You see the top of the pyramid, and then you have this kind of almost like a porch bit or something. I don't know what you call that bit, but that's quite an iconic shape on the pyramid stage. So those would be the next bits to add, and they wouldn't be too difficult to make. Again, this would just be another equilateral triangle, and I decided, sort of roughly looking at it, that it was about a third of the length of the sides. So on a 20 centimeter one, you're talking about kind of 7.5 centimeters for that little equilateral triangle just at the top there. Super easy again. So we just draw that out. Let's go 7.5 centimeters, 7.5 centimeters.
I'm actually going to pull up a picture, actually, Will, because I don't want anybody thinking that we've just got any old person in here to do cardboard modelling for us today. So when I first met Will actually at a festival called Latitude, and he was walking around with a big cardboard box on his shoulder, but that cardboard box had actually been cut and glued and shaped and actually looked like this. He'd actually built an ice cream van, full-size ice cream van out of cardboard, and had some straps that would hold it in over his shoulders, and he could walk around the festival giving people ice creams. Do you remember that, Will?
I do, Nick, but I must remind you that one actually had it was on wheel. It was on cardboard wheels.
Oh,
and
it
even had a cardboard engineered steering system. So it wasn't on my shoulders, that one.
So you could actually
there was one on my shoulders from art college, which was a car. But the one you saw me in, it was actually on. Yeah, I'd engineered the steering mechanisms and and all kind of stuff. So that was probably the most technical one I ever did, in a sense of a cardboard object for performance. Though I have since done some sculptural stuff, which was quite complicated, but kind of just sat in the gallery. So yeah, there's the picture of it, and yeah, absolutely. That I was standing on the ground, so was the van, and I could push the van along. So that was a nice little break. There you go. You see the wheels. So here you go. I just made this last little equilateral triangle just to fit at the top.
Fantastic. Let me get that. Hang on. Let me get that up full screen again. I've got to press that and that and that. There we go.
What do you think of my mandala, Nick? My cardboard mandala here.
Oh wow! Remind me what a mandala is. Excuse my complete. I've just had a complete brainwave.
Well, it's a sun, isn't it? A mandala.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's card. Hold it close to the camera. Bit lower. Oh wow! And turn that round so we can see some perspective on it. And oh wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And you've obviously just, when did you make that specially, or is it something?
You know, Nick, if I didn't have one already, I would have made one. Yeah.
I know you will. You're just fantastic. And
I just, you know, I was just looking for some backdrops, you know, and I had these very spacey paintings, and I thought, well, they're good, but also I came across this, and initially that was part of a cardboard jukebox. That was. It was kind of like the bit where, you know, the kind of like the bit that spins round and the records are selected. But removed, I thought, well, it makes a lovely mandala, which is I think it's an Indian word possibly for sun, and just relating it to the idea of the pyramid. You know, I thought perfect. Bring that in. So here we go. We've got we're really taking shape now for our little pyramid stage, and as I say, the next bit is a little more complicated. This kind of porch area. You have to think, what size is it going to be? And looking at it, I thought, well, let's just do it approximately. So we've got about 8 centimeters there. I'm thinking, oh, stick it out by 8 centimeters. That's going to be just about right. So it's basically sorting out a nice triangular shape here, and a kind of I don't even know what you call that shape, but it obviously has some slightly odd angles going on. Quite difficult to work out this shape here. I've obviously done it for the big one, just by measuring down. You notice it doesn't come all the way down to the bottom. It kind of stops about there. That's how it is on the real stage. So that's how I did it. So I'm looking at a triangle which needs to be actually about 8 centimeters, probably by about 6 centimeters, and then it needs to be coming up at this angle, maybe 8 again. So maybe 8 by 8 by 6. It's all a little bit trial and error at this stage, and you know, don't really worry. It's cardboard. It's nice and cheap. You can get through it. You can make mistakes. So here we go. 8 by 8, sort of roughly there, by 6. 8 by 8 by 6. There we go. 8 by 8 by 6. Whack it in. And I know that when I get to the top of here, I'm going to need a piece to fold over. And I know that's going to then stick out slightly more. So you know, if this was 6, then we're probably going to be going to about maybe 7 or 8. I also know that halfway across here, 4.5 centimeters. So let's just go for 9. Let's go for roughly 9 centimeters width. 4.5 in the middle. Let's move that out of the way. You know, it's a little bit trial and error. But yeah, we're gonna give this a go. So here we go. 4.5 across here. want here? We want the old 6 centimeters back here. And finishing off with the same shape on the other side, which is going to be 7.5 again. And the same down to about there. All right, so I've got an interesting shape here, which may be just about right in the sense of making a porch. I'm sure there's a better word for it than a porch. And after this, we're going to be looking at how to do the lights, where I did use the toilet rolls. And I've got something quite exciting, which is how to do some speakers. Now, the speakers you're going to love, because that's just a couple of egg boxes and some toilet rolls. All right, you always get some speakers at Glastonbury, don't you? Kind of up amongst the crowd. So we've got how to do speakers. And then, yeah, you know, once you've got your stage and your lights and your speakers, you can create some characters and have a lot of fun. Okay, so I'm getting there with this. See, it's quite hard work. It's quite a slog making these things, but it does give you results that you want. Okay. Here we go. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to do some scoring. Scoring is a technique where you, with your knife, you just go halfway into the cardboard, and that allows you to bend your cardboard nicely like that. I'm also going to need to score down the middle. A nice little line, score the cardboard. Right, so let's see if that's worked out. It's not bad at all. It is not bad, is it?
Looks fantastic.
Yeah,
looks
brilliant. A little bit of measuring, and there we go. We've got our little porch.
That's really, really lovely.
Fits in nice, doesn't it? Yeah, and that's kind of the iconic shape, isn't it, of the pyramid stage? You've got your basic pyramid. You've got this little bit sticking out the front, and if you put those two things together, you've got your basics for your pyramid stage. I'm using wood glue. One of the nightmares I kind of had yesterday was with the PVA glue, and in this heat, it just wasn't drying. I tell you, it was really, really hard work trying to get PVA glue to dry yesterday. So wood glue is just a little bit more sticky. I think I might have to just maybe trim off a little bit there at the back, just to allow it to just to come over the top there. And of course, I'm going to need just a little bit of what I do actually is I might trim off that bit. Slightly less wiggle room on a tiny model like this. Slightly less wiggle room. It's just going to be a little bit of sellotape again, just to hold it in place while the glue dries. So Nick, are you still there?
Absolutely, I'm here. Trying to keep cool. I'm trying to keep cool. It's so hot.
How do you keep cool in your studio?
Well, I've actually got a big window at the end. The only trouble is the sun is beating in on that at the moment. And if I have the window open, all the neighbours complain because I speak quite loudly. So I've actually got a big fan in the hall that sort of sucks air through. I actually bought an air conditioning unit about a month ago from somewhere that I knew I could take it back if I didn't want it. I've now passed that period, so I've now got to keep it. So I'm going to get that out today. My concern is that they're quite noisy. So you can hear the fans going now. Whatever, it's all part of the realism.
Well, I turned my fan off with that in mind. But it's not quite as bad today, is it?
Oh, I don't know.
Yesterday was really, really, really hot.
Well, I'm on the top floor, so there's a flat roof, so I've probably got heat from the roof as well. Yeah, the ceiling's quite warm from sun on a flat tar roof. So yeah, it's all against me. But do you know, funny enough, the worst problem, people talk about rain at Glastonbury, blah blah blah, and I've been to the worst ones where people were rescued from their tents by the fire brigade in diving gear. But funny enough, I've been to sunny festivals that are almost as bad because you can't find shade. People will literally sit under every tree, every bit of shade. People will sit against fences, and then as the sun moves, they move, and shade actually becomes a bigger premium than a bottle of water. It's, you know, we can't win, but you know, whatever.
Interesting.
And the funny thing, as I say, everybody scoffs about the rain at Glastonbury, and if you stay there, people almost gloat that you're there getting hammered. But it's very interesting. After a really, really bad Glastonbury, when it's really muddy and you're walking around in 12 inches of mud and it's really hard work, you know that anybody there is hardcore and there for the right reason. You know, they're not there on comp tickets from a big corporate hospitality thing. The real festival goers are still there, and I suppose I'm a bit arrogant to include myself as a hardcore festival goer, but it's not about the weather.
Well, I've only been to Glastonbury once, and it was 2001, I think, and David Bowie was there, so that was kind of lucky.
That was 2000, actually.
Was it 2000? Yes, you're right. Yeah.
I'll tell you why I know that, because I was chatting to Earl Slick, who was his guitarist, just the other day, like you do, and I said, he's from Brooklyn, New York, and I asked him how, if he'd been to London Match, and he said, yeah, I came the first time in 1975 to play with David Bowie, and then we did Glastonbury in 2000. So there you go. That's how I know that from the man. And in fact, we were just doing.
No, that's good knowledge. So I think if I was going to make a character for my stage, I would make a little David Bowie.
Would you?
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. But before I get on to that, I'm going to show you how. So this is what this is. So using the toilet rolls, had an offcut of cardboard, which happened to be roughly the right shape to just slot in like this, and very simply drew around the shape of the toilet roll and just slotted them in, because I think that's one of the main things you see in Glastonbury, isn't it? When you're at the stage, the power of those lights on that pyramid stage, when they kind of blast you.
Oh, I know, it's fantastic. And the shows have changed. I first went in 1980, and I had an old Austin Allegro which I bought for 350 quid, and I drove in. I rented a house with a garage in Loughborough, and I got the car in the garage, and I couldn't get it out. It didn't have reverse gear. The man from the garage had to come and show me how to get reverse gear so I could reverse out and then drive to Glastonbury. So, and we slept in the car, and we arrived in about 4 a.m, I think. It was a very different place then.
Great. This little bit will just go in the top. I'm just going to do that now. I've already cut the shape out. I'm just going to cut out the circles again using my Stanley knife, and then I can pop in just the last little set of lights. Well, I suppose I tell a lie really, because I did go to Glastonbury once as a child. I do remember driving into the very muddy field, kind of getting stuck, and then Mum and Dad actually just driving out again.
Your mum and dad took you? That's pretty cool.
It was a small thing then. It may well have been 1982. I don't know what year it was, and we were kind of coming back from maybe a holiday somewhere else, and we thought we'd try and go, but I think the weather was too bad for 3 small children that year.
So you could just go on spec in those days, could you? Literally just say, well, should we go to Glastonbury, jump in the car and go?
I guess it was like that, wasn't it? I guess you could just turn up and kind of park your car, and I was probably about 6 or 7, so
I think
I felt kind of cool that I had been, at least, that when people talked about it.
I went the year of Coldplay's first big gig. I think that was 2004, and we actually had a double-decker tour bus with 18 bunk beds. We managed to get it backstage, even though we didn't have a pass for the bus. We managed to get the bus backstage, and we all had backstage passes, and the driver got us backstage. But I remember I had 18 backstage.
Are you friends with them then, Nick?
No, not really. No, not at all. No. I had a friend in the music business. That's how it works. And I remember I had one ticket for somebody who arrived, two people who arrived late. One guy was in a wheelchair, and so we had permission to go and get him. And my goodness, we went through that gate, and it was a really heavy year. It's one of the first big years with the big wall. And the security told us, you go through that gate, it's your own responsibility. We cannot come and get you. And literally I went out, it's like going through the Brandenburg Gate. You go through these big gates with searchlights in towers and lots of security guys buzzing up and down in four-wheel drives. And I'm literally out there on my own. And I had to point to the guy who was with us. And then a bunch of security guards went to get him and pushed him over in his wheelchair and let him in. It was incredible. And I'd just seen Coldplay, so I was a little bit off with the fairies, to say the least. Not that I was a massive Coldplay fan prior to that moment, but it was, and we had Faithless and then Coldplay. And that I think is one of Chris Martin's favourite ever gigs, because that was his first proper Glastonbury without all the tech. Not his first Glastonbury, but his first one on the Pyramid
They've definitely done some rousing songs, haven't they?
Well, a lot of my friends just say it's very depressing, Coldplay, but I don't mind a bit of Coldplay.
Well, that's it. Yeah, they had a depressing kind of few years perhaps, and yeah, then they came back with some real kind of uplifting stuff, didn't they?
Well, no, there's only a couple of albums I ever listened to. I mean, the BBC are running repeats all weekend, Glastonbury moments, but it's all the rock stuff, So there's, for example, there's no Orbital or Prodigy. Now Orbital, I mean, the Prodigy is not quite my cup of tea. It's a bit hardcore for me. But Orbital, Phil Hartnell, I used to hang out with Phil Hartnell years ago.
Oh yeah, wonderful band, Orbital.
Oh my goodness, them doing Doctor Who. They used to do Chime into Doctor Who. If you want to know what I'm talking about, go to YouTube, Chime, Orbital, Glastonbury, Doctor Who theme, and they did that mix, and it is off the scale, unbelievable.
Yes.
And then I saw them in Brixton Academy on their last ever gig, and then they came back. But I was on the guest list for that, and I remember they do a sample with a Carpenters song. Have you seen Orbital play live lately?
I have not seen Orbital play live. I think I saw the Orb back in university, but not Orbital ever, and I would love to.
So Orbital do one lovely song with a Carpenters sample, which is Calling Occupants of Interplanetary Craft. Do you remember that song? We Are Your Friends. And they sample that, and then they just drop the bass, and it just goes off. Oh, wonderful! Really, really wonderful. I was trying to get Phil on this weekend actually, but he's not feeling too good, so he's still in lockdown. So
yeah.
If you're watching Phil,
I must say last year's Glastonbury, the John Hopkins set looked very good, didn't it? Did you see that?
No, I didn't actually.
Were you there last year?
No, I wasn't. I haven't been for a few years actually.
Just a telly for me.
My life's been a roller coaster. I sort of wake up in the morning and think, what shall I do today? And anybody who knows me knows that's how I plan. I just haven't got time.
So here we go. My last little set of lights. Just basically little holders for the rolls. And I mean, if you were slightly technically minded, I'm sure you could kind of. I do have a little hole here. I'm sure I could somehow open up that and let some light in and actually project light out through these. I'm sure I could do something like that. But there we go. Hopefully that will just sit in there, and we're going to achieve that kind of all powerful. It does look a bit like a space rocket taking off, doesn't it? The Glastonbury stage, the Pyramid stage. With all these lights shining at you and the smoke they no doubt belch out. It's just a little balancing act here. I might turn it round.
What I find interesting is how I'm quite into how the light technology's changed over the years, because they used to have one light for every colour and every position. So if you wanted a red light over there and then it needed to be blue, that'd be two lights, and they were both really high power, energy sucking lights. And now they're both multi-function, so each light can have lots of colours, but it can point anywhere. So now if you look at a lighting rig in the ceiling, it's got like 10 lights, and they can all do anything, anywhere. It's incredible. And then now they've got the big thing now, obviously, is video screens. So they have the whole backstage as a video screen and video panels here and there. But one of the loveliest sets, going back to Orbital, they had a thing where they had video projection panels on big vertical boards, a bit like you've got there. In fact, it's very, very similar. You should check it out. And then just halfway through the set, they started revolving in 3D. So if you were to turn, what's that on the left there? Is that your speaker stack, is it?
Yes.
So if you were to turn that around slowly, you get a really interesting effect with those shadows. And that's what Orbital did. Look how it changes. So there's a name.
They always have something like that, don't they? Either on the stage or to the right and left of the stage.
And I think what
so I'll just show you how I made the speaker stack.
How long do you think you need, Will? Because we've got the theatre company ready when you are. Should I tell them how long do you think?
What's that, Nick?
How much longer do you need? I'm not rushing you, but we've got the theatre company on standby.
Well, I mean, we can wrap up any time you like. I mean, these speaker stacks are quite simple, so I'll probably just sort of 5 minutes on this, and then if there's anything else you want to discuss, go for it.
I'll tell you what then.
Yeah,
we'll tell them 10 minutes then.
And a nice long toilet roll. Basically, just line up the back and make a couple of marks where you need to put some holes in. I mean, you could just stick it on with sellotape if you wanted, but I kind of wanted to be a little bit sort of long term about it, make something that's going to hold together. Obviously if you just use sellotape, things will fall apart. So it's just, thought it was a nice kind of simple bit of like cardboard engineering at its simplest level, just to take your egg box and kind of stuff it into some holes in your cardboard tube. It's a little bit crude, but make that a little bit bigger. You see, there we go. And it won't stand up on its own, which is why I gave it the egg box base as well. And again, you do kind of see that at festivals, don't you? You see these little sort of speaker systems which they have amongst the crowd, and they have their own little bases. So I thought that was pretty cool. I thought you might have some background music playing, Nick.
Well, it's funny you say that. I have to be very careful, because if you have music running, then you get struck by the copyright police and they take you down.
Ah, yes, of course.
But that's a good point. We should maybe get something abstract that won't get done. Yeah, I'll have to think about that. What happened is, I only found out last night, but all our YouTube feeds, I've been sending links to them to people, knowing that there can be problems on mobile, but they're actually, none of them can be played on a laptop now either. But because when I log in, I can see them because it's my account, you see. So that's why we're just got to be careful with the copyright and obviously respect that. But
yes,
it's a tricky one.
Yeah. No, I do understand. I thought I had another egg box. Anyway, you got the idea, haven't you? With your kind of, oh, there we go, tumbling down. Got the idea with your speaker stack on one side and your lighting rig inside. So yeah, I mean, for me, it's been quite an interesting little journey, really, making these things, and the time spent with the toilet rolls was not wasted. I did find it to be quite a nice sort of little learning experiment in terms of what you can do with them. There we go. So that's back up and running. Got your speaker on one side. Got your speaker on the other side, which I'm going to wedge in with another toilet roll. There we go. And just sort that out for one more time. Obviously, if you glue this in if you're not in the middle of this, but I won't bother right now. There we go. So how does that look, Nick?
Wow, that is just wonderful, Will.
We're a bit wonky, aren't we? Let's straighten that up.
Can you move the little one in front of the big one, do you think? Just a bit?
Yes.
A little bit further across into the middle, so it's actually right in front of it. And then
yes.
I can squeeze in as well then. That's fantastic, look at that.
And then we bring the kind of rotating object of art. You see, certainly the cardboard tube one does have an artistic presence, in the struggle that it involved.
Bring that one into the bring that into the foreground, Will, quickly.
This big one?
Yeah, just hold it in front of the camera so we can see that one again as a bit of a reminder. Bring that one into the looks like the base of the foreground, Will, quickly. The Eiffel Tower. And have you joined them together?
A sellotape, but what was tricky was just finding the right angle to cut the toilet rolls so that then the shape would work, essentially. You know what I mean? I do. It's very interesting maths, that is, isn't it? How that curve goes, because you don't cut a straight line, do you? It by eye, really, but if you were going to go into the maths of that, you are gonna test yourselves, I'm sure. Well, no, and the base as well. I mean, it's the same angle on the bases, each one, so that it sits on the floor. And then at the top, I mean, the very top, trying to find the angles so that they would all come together into a point. I suppose the other way would be to not make them to a point at the top, and then but then you'd still have to make your little equilateral triangle to fit on the top. So, yeah.
That's brilliant. Well, thank you, Will.
I guess that is my little attempt at the Glastonbury Pyramid stage.
Well, funny enough, I've got the picture of the ice cream van back up, but I've actually got a picture of a gondola that you made in Venice as well, and that floats. Fantastic. And that floats, doesn't it, by the look of it?
That is a floating gondola, Nick.
Made out of cardboard with a bit of lacquer, and I couldn't find the tube train online actually, because you were in it last time, weren't you? The tube train.
Yeah, funnily enough, the tube train is still here in the studio, the interior of it, but I didn't think I thought it was actually a little bit of a distraction from the pyramid, you know what I mean? You sort of, if you've got too much cardboard in the room, you don't see the cardboard you're meant to focus on.
Brilliant.
So there's gondola. Awesome.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Will. I think you've really, really inspired everybody today to hopefully get very creative and make a pyramid stage themselves. As a project itself, as a little place that they could store things in bedrooms or in living rooms, a place that they could act out little plays, a place they could put art in. Because the pyramid stage for us this weekend is an art gallery. It's the most inspiring, one of the most inspiring icons of creativity in the UK. It's a place where bands play, but this weekend we're bringing everything from the Festival of Glastonbury, all the wonder of Glastonbury, the off main stage wonder. We're going to try and bring that in and put it inside a pyramid stage. We haven't quite finished our main one. We'll have that going for tonight, but Will's done a super job there of inspiring us all. And I've got my my monster cardboard tubes here. And as I said, I've got 15 of these, and go on, my blimey, you could have some fun with this, couldn't you? So we're going to hopefully try and make a bit of a den sometime. I haven't got any room in the studio here to do that, but that's going to be lots of fun. Well, thank you so much. We've got to crack on now because we've got Bounce Theatre who are going to do a workshop on theatre, and they're doing 3 sessions every day. I'm just a dad, and I passionately believe that the future for our children, our communities and our country lies in one thing: creativity. It can inspire our kids in their learning. It can create careers and connect communities. 10 years ago, after a trip to a festival, Camp Festival, I went back to my son's primary school and started a non-profit community enterprise called STEAMco with other parents, teachers and local businesses. We ran mini creativity festivals. STEAMco helps connect our kids with their art and our communities with their schools. Last weekend in that same playground, I filmed an amazing set by the legendary Glenn Matlock, co-founder of the Sex Pistols, and amazing global rock star Earl Slick, who used to play with David Bowie. It will be their performance at an event we've just been given permission to run in the playing fields of a school just down the road from Glastonbury. We're calling it #YourGlasto. It's one of 5 free 3-day Art of Community festivals that we're running all summer with the help of the Arts Council and funding from the National Lottery. Our first one was live streamed from Eden Project at the end of May and featured inspiring talks, uplifting performances, creative activities and community engagement. We had a fantastic performance by the blind and disabled young woman Kerpa from Leeds. We had a great Saturday night set from Emily Capel, and Gaz Mayle even Skyped in from his hideaway in Wales. We had a right old laugh watching Rosemary Schrager teach Levois to cook, and we all split our sides with Basil Brush.
Technology is an amazing thing.
Punk icon Jar Wobble chatted with a grandad in Liverpool. On Sunday we had a little big lunch, and after that rockstar activator Tom Morley led a co-drum circle with hundreds of people all over the world. And we had a couple of great late night dance parties where people could Skype in with a green screen background and end up on the dance floor. As the CEO of the Arts Council has said,
let's ask, what if? Let's start a creativity revolution.
Let's create our Glasto. Tom's there, so my Glasto. Tom up. Your Glasto. Hi Tom, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
Brilliant. So I was just telling everybody you're doing 1,000 people in a Zoom drum circle on Sunday afternoon. You are just off the scale.
Who knows how many are going to turn up? I mean, 1 million could turn up, but.
Well, you've been live. We've been live on BBC Somerset just now, so I think 4 people listened to that in the morning.
All right, great.
Which is all good. So I was just telling them about the work you do, Vibe Navigator, the Rockstar Activator. There's never been a time that we've needed you more. Than this moment. You know, creativity in this country, we need inspiration. Coming out of lockdown, you've been inspiring people through lockdown. Why don't you just tell everybody what you've been up to in lockdown and tell them what you're going to do on Sunday quickly? Give them a taster.
At first I thought I'd be out of a job because all these drums behind me, I've been driving around the country, or if I've been working abroad, I've been hiring drums abroad to play with people, to bring people together. And the whole thing about drumming and rhythm is that you need to be sort of locked in. Right into the groove, you know, everybody needs, and yet I've found when I've done sessions on Zoom, as every musician has found, there's a thing called latency. Latency is the difference between all our signals. So we can't play in time. However, I've soon discovered that if we go into gallery view, either on Skype or Zoom or whatever platform we use, we can see everybody. And they're playing to a common beat that I'm broadcasting to them, or I'm playing on this drum. They're playing with me, so they can hear me. They can't hear everybody else muted. However, they can see 30 people really going for it. So if I say, you know, all right, get some wooden spoons and don't play anything, just bring them to the screen and back. They see a whole screen, and it's quite remarkable what it does for performance. And what we have in advantage over physical conferences, I mean, there's some amazing things come out. It's a paradigm shift. What we have as an advantage is people can't sit there at the back and go, well, I don't really do this sort of thing. You know, there's always some people, or they prefer to check their emails on their phone. Whereas they become totally, you could see them like pieces in the jigsaw puzzle. They just don't fit if they have that. So they eventually join in, and then they start to have a good time. So it's a way of the world kind of receiving permission, either from me or other facilitators, to actually try something out, because who wouldn't benefit from just sort of going like that? You know, we're spending all our time sitting down looking at screens. Let's move a bit. So I've discovered that if you get 2 wooden spoons from the kitchen, and this is what we'll be doing on Sunday, and I can give you a quick taster today. With 2 wooden spoons, you can play a rhythm called the clave rhythm, which you'll hear a lot in Cuba, but it's a worldwide rhythm. It's just this. And the great thing is also, if I wrote to 1,000 people at a conference and said, bring some wooden spoons, 10 people would turn up, and 990 would say, I never read the email. So the good thing is you'll have something. Everyone's got something in their home, even if it's only a pair of chopsticks. You can do that. And if I say, okay, get something to shake. Nobody would have a shaker in it, or very few people, but everyone's got some vitamin pills or something. So I'm going to show you a couple of other things, and then I'll just play you a track. And if you are there with something that you could play along, here's a tin can.
All I'd say, Tom, Tom, can you hear me? Can you be careful not to play any copyright music, because they'll throw the channel down. Is that an option?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I've selected all non-copyright. This is all music I've paid for on a website called Audible. Audio Blocks, and Audio Blocks sells people like me library music. I pay something like £150 a year, and for that I can use any of their music for free. Well, for free, I pay £150 for it, but I can download as much as I want. It's a bit like, you know, when you go on holiday and there's an all-you-can-eat buffet. I can eat from that buffet musically all year, and nobody's going to tell me off.
Binging on music instead of Netflix. How about that?
Binging on music. So I'm going to play you one of those tracks now, and normally I would kind of patch through, so you'll probably hear it in quite a tinny way. But if you have a shaker, or you have some sticks that you can just play the clave, or a tin can. You're here. You can just. It's quite a groove for a piece of library music. It's pretty groovy.
Come on, Malumba. Loving it, Tom. Good vibes on a Friday morning. Let's see who's on.
Can you hear that?
We can, yeah, it's good.
Okay, I'll play a bit more. Could be as simple as.
I should point out that the beer is provided by the Co-op. We're doing a beer festival, so I've got my Punk IPA cans. And it's Punk IPAs. That's got to be appropriate, hasn't it, Tom?
Yeah. So, I've got lots of music like that we can just play along to, which we will be doing on Sunday for a whole hour. And generally, I do this on Zoom, so I make sure I share my computer sound. So the music you hear out there is as clear as if you were just playing off iTunes or streaming from any of the streaming platforms you use. So people wear headphones that get really good sound, and they just watch each other play. It's quite remarkable. And I've done sort of business groups in Dubai, and within a minute, all in the chat starts racking up. This is the best Zoom call ever. It's the best. I mean, it's absolutely remarkable. And I say, it's only possible. You'll hear these words, paradigm shift, and go, what's that mean? That means the whole world changes. But actually, the whole world of music has changed, because for all other centuries, we've said we have to play in time for it to be music. In 2020. We're discovering that you can play in a band with 30, 60, 100,000 people, everybody out of time with each other, but it feels like you're in a band because you're watching each other. So we're making visual music, which who would have thought that? If you'd have told me that a year ago, if you'd told me that 4 months ago, I wouldn't have believed it. I'd have said you're mad. And now I'm kind of pioneering it. And,
it's funny, Tom, you know, because we say that art is the combination of creativity, tools and people. Now those tools 30 million years ago were red paint on a caveman's hand when he first drew, because that was invented after he was born. They call it technology. Technology is something that was invented after you were born. So you are the epitome of art, you know, the creativity. The tool is a drum or a piece of cardboard or a bit of stick, and the person is you. And the fact that you are here with us today means so much. I can't thank you enough for your support for this, Tom, because I know you're very busy. You travel all over the world working with blue chip corporations who need you to keep their companies going. You are the oil in their machines and their cogs. I used to work for an advertising agency, and they said that the worst day we would ever have would be better than the best day working in a bank or an insurance company or a law firm. And then they send you along and have one good day a year, so that's their best day.
Well, thank you very much.
But what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about that, Tom?
My whole thing, and it takes a while, you know, for young people especially watching. People say, "What's your niche? Stay in your lane." You get all these things trying to compartmentalize you. Now, you do have to do that to sell yourself, but it's taken me 60 years to come up with 2 words, which are rockstar activator, and that has partly come from talking to clients in the bar after events. And I think I'm going to talk all about the neuroscience and what it's doing to us chemically, and what it's doing to our emotions. And all they want to talk about is what was life like on the road in a band. So the whole the rock star thing, I thought I'm never going to get away from this. And the activator is exactly like say, you know, all right, just do this, everybody, just do that, and they start to feel. I mean, it's. I've just made a movie about it. It's a metaphor for discretion. It's what's called in the business world discretionary effort. Discretionary means, am I going to use that energy or not? Am I going to keep it for when I get home, or when I get on the golf course, or when I do something that's more important to me? And the thing about discretionary effort is you don't use it up. It's energy. If you use it at work, you'll have more energy when you get home. As you know, Nick, from being in the advertising agency, you wouldn't go home going, "Oh, what a terrible day, they sapped me." You'd go home thinking, "Yeah, all right, what now? You know, I'll clear the garage out just to stay creative." Well, maybe not every day, but you know what I mean? It's like energy just keeps being built. So that's my life, really, just keeping that energy going. And of course, it keeps me going. I'm 66 years old. I lived a rock star life. I shouldn't even be standing up. But here I am, bouncing around like a teenager. It's mad.
Tom, you're amazing. You know, we have this phrase at Steamco, art connects. Talk to me about connections and art and in that context very quickly. I know we've got Will waiting.
My wife said, a couple of years ago when I was trying to come up with this Rockstar Activate thing, or a tag, I said, what is the one thing? She's known me 20 years. I said, what's the one thing about me? And she said, it's connection. If I had to pick one word, it would be connection, because you're always trying to connect people. Even if we go on holiday, right, and we're at some beach resort, and I say, all right, I'm not going to offer to get anything going, no singing, no drumming. I'm not even going to make any eye contact. We're just going to be here on our own. After about 2 days, this happened in Sri Lanka. The maitre d' came up to me and said, Tom, we hear you're a drummer. It's the chef's birthday. I wonder if you'd mind just playing a rhythm for him. We've sent one of the people on reception to the market to get you a drum. So I ended up connecting this whole thing, trying not to, you know. So of course we all had a great time and we got to know everybody, but even when I'm trying not to connect people, it seems that I have this connecting thing around me. So I've stopped fighting it and just enjoy it now.
Fantastic. I'll be honest with you, I'm just finishing off a PowerPoint because I want to show a couple of photos. We've had this pyramid stage built out of cardboard, and I'd just like to show you what it looks like. So can you just talk for another 30 seconds about what you're going to do on Sunday?
The trouble is I can't see your screen.
Okay, you'll see it. So it's all being screened. Don't worry, you can see it on the stream after, but just you'll see it in a moment.
Yeah.
Go for it. Tell us about Sunday very quickly. A last minute plug for your session Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday. I've been putting this meetup group together for some time. There's about 1,000 people subscribed to it. It's meetup.com, and it's called Drum Circle London. Drum Circle London. And if you sign up there, you'll hear about anything that's coming up. You'll get no spam at all. You'll only ever hear about drum circles that I'm doing. Generally, everything I've done in lockdown has been free on that because I've earned my money elsewhere. So you can come for free when it's physical and people come here. We do them in a local hall.
Actually, Tom, can I stop you there, Tom, for a moment? I'm sorry to butt in. I don't like hearing you say that you do work for free like that. I know you're very generous and you support us, but I don't want anybody getting any idea that you were in the 80s, you're a big rock star, you've lived the life. You're not Elton John. I know that you're in. I believe you're probably in rented accommodation. You're 66. You need every penny you can get. And I've got one bit of advice for you this weekend, and that's to check out a thing called Patreon, where people can subscribe to you and put £1 in a month to be exclusive access onto your. I know you know all this stuff, but Tom. Yeah. I don't want anybody thinking that Tom Morley has got a cupboard full of Armani jackets and suits and Jean-Paul Gaultier crazy clothes. This is a man who wears his heart on his sleeve. And the day that Tom Morley launches a Patreon site, I want everybody watching this now to support this man, because he is an ultimate rock star who has given his heart and soul to creativity, given his heart and soul to community, and given his heart and soul to the world, quite simply. He travels all over the world, but those gigs, you get a lot of money for the half hour you're on stage. You don't get paid for travel. You don't get paid for sitting alone in a hotel. Tom Morley, we salute you. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to say, but we're certainly going to see you on Sunday. Salute you, Tom Morley. Well, fantastic. Thank you so much. Carry on.
I'll just say one thing about that to anybody listening, and you're absolutely right. Artists are asked to do work for promotion. Come and play in our restaurant. We'll promote you to our guests. No other profession does that happen. So I would agree that the only reason I do things for free is because I seem to have been born with a generous spirit. So if I'll get paid £2,000 to do a virtual thing in Dubai for 45 minutes, that means that I can just be generous. That's all it is. I'm not out there trying to make tiny little contacts by doing free stuff. I don't need to. But I like sometimes to just give, because certainly some of the families who turn up here when I'm doing physical drum circles, if it's a single mum and 3 kids, she can't afford to pay what I would charge. So I would rather just say, this is a service.
We say that Steamco is a project, a collaboration. Tom, can you move to your left just about 4 inches?
My left.
Yeah, a little bit more. That's perfect. You'll see why when you see the stream. Not too far. That's probably a little bit too far. Don't worry. When we started Steamco, we said it was about a collaboration of parents, teachers, artists, creatives, and the local community working together. And I was told off for saying parents because you have to say carers. So we actually merged the two together. We say #creative carers, because creative carers are people who care about children, who care about creativity and care about all our futures. I don't think it's a secret. Tom, you haven't had children yet, or any you know of. But the point is, you give back in spades. And the great thing about being a creative carer, and we've got this thing called the Rocket Kids Club, which is an online safe place for kids and creative carers to be inspired, to create and share. It's like a secure Facebook where they can see people like you. They can do stuff. And a lot of kids can't access their parents. They might be juggling 3 0-hour contract jobs. They might be working in the city, but they're still not there for their kids. But if we can connect people like you using the technology that you've been talking about today in a safe, creative, inspiring way, these kids, and we're not calling it an after-school club, we're not calling it a homework club, we're calling it an out-of-school club. So when kids are out of school, whether they've been excluded, they're isolated, they're shut down, whatever, they can come to that safe place and connect with people like you. Tom, you are the definition of a creative carer. We're proud to have you as one of our inspirators. We'll see you Sunday afternoon.
Thank
you so much. We salute you. Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Nick.
What a legend. Primary school, and I was waiting for a taxi, and a couple of guys came up and we had a crack, and we either shared a taxi or they gave me a lift. I think they gave me a lift in their van, actually. And if I press this button here, doesn't look like he's quite ready. I'm going to press this button when the man called Akhil Morgan. Look at these boys. They are live and direct from Liverpool. Can you hear us, guys?
Bon dia, hello Nick. We can hear you loud and clear.
We have talked about this for years, haven't we? What, 3 or 4 years getting you boys together with us to do something? And it took a virus, it took a global crisis to make this craziness happen. Do you know what I'm saying?
Amazing, Nick. So good to see you, mate.
Good to see you guys. I'm gonna kill this camera in a minute because I don't really want everybody seeing me on the screen, so I can see you. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
We are going to rinse this. I mean, do you remember tell me about what you were doing in that school in Florence Melly that day. Tell me about your art that you were doing there, guys. Come on.
So we bumped into you outside. You were looking for a way to get back to town, and we had a taxi waiting for us, and you just went, hey lads, can I jump in your cab? And we shared a cab together. We caught up with each other, and we knew we had to work together. And finally it's happened. It's so great to see you, mate. It's great to follow what it is that you're doing. Really inspired by your work. What we do is we're a not-for-profit community interest company based in Liverpool, and essentially we change lives through movement. And the movement form that we use is called capoeira. It's an Afro-Brazilian art form, and it comes from hundreds of years of history all the way down through the ages to us here now, found its way to Liverpool. And over the last 5 years, we've been developing our work, using capoeira as a way to bring people together, using capoeira as a way to inspire people's imagination, using capoeira as a way to bring people forward for learning and for play. And we do work all over the city, all over the region. We do work internationally. We've got loads and loads of exciting, amazing things going on, and we're just made up to be on the Nick show, on the Steam Co show.
It's not the Nick show.
What we do, part of it.
It's not the Nick show. I'm just the idiot in the middle in a hot room sweating buttons. You're the guys who are doing the art. You're the artist.
You've got a job, mate.
I just want to make sure I've got this absolutely right. So how long are you expecting for this, guys? How long were you working to?
So we can do anything that suits you between half an hour to 45 minutes. We're going to talk a little bit about what capoeira is. We're going to run a workshop. We're going to do some music together. The most important thing about this, Nick, between half an hour, 45 minutes, the most important thing is that it's interactive. So I want to see you moving. Want to see you getting down with the capoeira.
I'm going back to bed, mate. I'm going back to bed. I am. What are you talking about?
No chance. No,
you're not, mate.
Hang on a second. I just want to get my man Malumba back on here because he's in charge of the clipboard. He's the clipboard king around here. Let me see if I can get Malumba back in. Hang on a sec. That's you. Malumba, where is he? Is he answering? It looks like he's answering. Hang on a second. He's coming in on 7. I do get my knickers in a bit of a twist here, I'm afraid. Are you there, Malumba? Malumba, yeah. Hang on a second. Are you there? How long have these guys got? Can you remind me?
Oh, they've got as long as they want.
So what?
They've got until 12.
Yeah, they can go till 12.
12, 15, 45 minutes is perfect.
Is there somebody after them?
No, not until 2.
Well, hang on, so they can go as long as they want. How long do you want, guys? You can have an hour if you want an hour.
Let's do up until 12, Nick.
That's absolutely fine. So Malumba, before we go any further, I mean, these guys, I mean, they're Scousers. Do you think they're appropriate from what you've just seen and heard? Do you think we should be pursuing this, or should we just get the disco tunes back on? What do you think?
I would keep them on the screen all day and just listen to the way they speak. I love it.
Listen to it. We had a lovely week in Liverpool, didn't we? These guys are going to melt hearts. They're going to connect. They're going to inspire. Boys, go for it. Just do what you do best. The whole world is watching. We can't wait. Thank you very much. Capoeira for all, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Hold tight.
Amazing. Capoeira's movement, capoeira's music, capoeira's people bringing together. Song that we'd love to share with you.
Okay, guys, this is for the berimbau. At home, if you could say berimbau, berimbau.
Berimbau.
The berimbau is one of the most important instruments in capoeira because it leads how we move, it leads our play, it leads everything that we do. We're going to sing a little song, and it goes, quem vem lá sou eu, quem vem lá sou eu, berimbau bateu, capoeira sou eu, which means who goes there, it's me. Who goes there? It's me. As I hit my berimbau, I am capoeira, okay? So please clap along at home. If you can sing some of the words or just sing things that sound like the words. I can barely speak. That would be amazing, okay?
loving that.
Amazing, guys. So the music brings the energy of capoeira, brings the history of capoeira into the space that we're all occupying now, whether it's in our homes, in our studios, on our phones, when we're having to drive around, wherever you are. So it's amazing to bring the energy of capoeira to your space now. I'd like to give you a little bit of a talk about what capoeira is. Capoeira is play. So capoeira brings people together. It brings people together to play with their bodies, to play with their voices. It brings people together to play with their imaginations, to play with what's possible. Capoeira is also learning. It's got a deep history. Capoeira's history is rooted in the transatlantic slave trade. And it's a mixture of Afro-Brazilian culture. So it's African cultures that's manifested and developed in the colonial world of Brazil. And it's managed to sustain itself, not only to sustain itself, but it's managed to grow and develop over all of these years into something now that's spread around the world. Tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people participate in capoeira. It's amazing for us to be part of that story. And capoeira is also creativity. Capoeira is about self-expression. It's about you being who you are. It's about living in the moment, in the practice and the game of capoeira. So what we're going to do today for you guys is we're going to introduce you to some of the basic movements of capoeira. So we're going to give you an introduction to capoeira. So everyone's going to get a chance to try some out. Like I said, the most important thing, get your shoes and socks off, wiggle your toes. It's interactive. We want you to take part. And after that, we'll tell you a little bit about us, about where we come from, about our amazing city here in Liverpool, and the work that we do with capoeira in our city.
Brilliant, brilliant. I think we should start with another song, actually. And it goes, sim, 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 now, now, now. So, sim, 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 now, now, now. It means yes, 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 no, no, no. But we're not just singing, oh, yes, 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 oh, no, no, no. It means yes, 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 what you have today, no, 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 might not be there tomorrow, so be thankful for the moment, be thankful for what you have, your family, your friends, and the amazing weather that we're having at the moment, okay? Here we go.
Woo! Loving that. Woo-hoo-hoo!
Please clear the space. Make sure that you have nothing around you that you might bump into, knock over. Shoes and socks off if you want, but you can keep your shoes on. However you feel good. Okay, we're about to start. I'm going to put some amazing music on.
Guys, can I say something quickly?
And we're going to begin.
Can I say something really quickly? If anybody wants to come on the show with Akil and do some capoeira here, email us on yourturn@steamco.org.uk. yourturn@steamco.org.uk. You can Skype in and you can be in a window alongside the guys and you could be doing capoeira with them. How cool would that be? How cool would that be? How cool would that be?
Amazing. We would love that. We would absolutely love that.
Come on,
guys.
I'm going to look
jump in. See you. We want to see you playing, having fun, learning capoeira.
I'm going to look on the YouTube channels and see if I can find anybody. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. I'm going to find you some people to join you. Hold tight.
Whoop, whoop. Hold tight. Hold tight.
Go for it, boys. Go, go, go.
Music and I'm going to be ready to go.
Yeah, go, go, go. Keep going. Don't stop. Don't let the music stop.
So, first of all, capoeira. Get the music playing. The music of Brazil, the music of Africa, combined together inspires us, gets our body, reminds us of where capoeira comes from, where we all come from, our common humanity bringing us all together.
Okay guys, amazing, amazing, amazing. This is my pandero. Can you say pandero?
Pandero, pandero.
Okay, so if I shake my pandero like this, I want you to shake your whole body until I stop. Are you ready? Shall we have a practice? 1, 2, 3, go! Your whole body, your legs, your head, your arms. Shake, 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 shake. Let's get warm, let's get warm. As you can see, cocktails in the background. Shake, 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 shake. Well done, really good. Okay, I'm gonna play another sound on my pandero, and it goes like this. When I do this sound, I want you to be on your toes. I want you to jump from side to side. As soon as I do the big hit, I want you to jump as high as you can. Woo! So we go. Good. Really well done, guys. Let's go back to shake, 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 shake. Shake, 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 you know that. Shake your body now. Shake, 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 you know that. Shake your body now. Okay, remember this one? On your toes, on your toes, on your toes. Yeah. Really good. Okay, brilliant. So when I play a rhythm like this, in all different ways to the beat. So you can swing from side to side, you can jump, and you can just get as creative as you want with your movements, okay? Are we ready? Here we go.
Family, make sure you play that tonight, yeah, that midnight for that, okay? We are live for a preview of day 2 of the Art of Community 20 Festival. Today is for the mums and the disco dads, today's for the parents. It's inspired by a mum called Leanne. Today's got the RSA and Rich. We've got Simon Bartholomew, he's going to do a bass guitar masterclass. We've got Rodney Brannigan, we've got Emily.
Feeling warm now because we're about to get into the move that is amazing in capoeira. It's called the jinga. Can you say jinga? Jinga. Nick, can you hear me? Jinga.
Jinga.
Yeah, well done. So jinga means to swing and to sway. Swing and sway. Just to start with, all we're going to do is stand with our legs a little bit further than the shoulder width distance apart. And we're just going to swing from side to side, okay? And listen to the song. Ding dong dong, ding dong dong, So I'm gonna play them forward, I'm gonna sing, swing to the other side, back, and forward, and this side, okay, here we go. Ding dong dong, ding dong dong. So I'm gonna play them forward, I'm gonna sing, swing to the other side, back, and forward, and this side, okay, here we go. Ding dong dong, ding dong dong. So I'm gonna play them forward, I'm gonna sing, swing to the other side, back, and this side, okay, here we go. Ding dong dong, ding dong dong.
Just about. I'm juggling stuff here. I'm juggling left, right and centre, guys. I'm doing my best. I'm just a dad, I do what I can. Just about. I'm juggling stuff here. I'm juggling left, right and centre, guys. I'm doing my best. I'm just a dad, I do what I can. 1, 2, 3. Woo!
In Portuguese, which is the language of Brazil, which is where capoeira comes from. Repeat after me.
Oh!
Really good. So when I say oh, there is just one. Oh my goodness, ready? Oh!
So when we say cuatro, next to come on. Development project, specifically about opportunities for young people to grow. About doing what they do, often in quite challenging circumstances, but the rewards are always great. It allows us to do things like that and connect with people who've never met before. So with no further ado, we're going to finish with an amazing game. This is one of my favourite games in all the world, unless you had an idea for another game. This is not a swimming noodle, although it may look like one. This is the capoeira noodle of play, destiny, and truth. All right? Now, the one thing is, to pass the capoeira test and become a fully fledged capoeira, you must not let the noodle of destiny, truth, and play touch you. All right? So we're going to use some of our movements that we've done already. One of the movements that you've seen already is cocorinha down here. Okay. We're also going to do another one, which is a jump, solta. Okay, and we're also going to do another one, which is jump back, esquiva. Okay, so we'll go through them again. Cocorinha, solta, esquiva. So we're going down, we're jumping up, or we're jumping back. All right, so if I bring the noodle high across the top like that and say cocorinha, we've got a duck underneath. If I bring the noodle low across the bottom, we've got to jump over it. And if I bring the noodle forward, you've got to esquiva and jump back from the noodle. All right? So these are our first 3 exercises. Okay. Cocorinha. Solta. Esquiva. Okay. Duck down. Cocorinha. Jump over. Solta. And jump back. Esquiva. All right, really good. You got those one. We're going to carry on. The next one is going to be jump to the side. And we jump to the side, we jump like this, or we jump to the other side. So when I bring the noodle down, like this, you've got to jump to the side. Are you ready? Jump to the side. Jump to the side. Okay, we're going down, cocorinha. We're going back, esquiva. All right, so we've learned some other moves as well. A really important move in capoeira, which Michael's taught already, is the ginga. So if I say ginga, We're just going to move and rock side to side, okay? Are you ready? Ginga! And solta, jump! Cocorinha, dove? Esquiva, jump up! Jump to the side! Jump to the other side! One last time, let's ginga! Give yourselves a big clap. I hope everyone's feeling great. I hope everyone's feeling like they've expressed themselves, moved the body, learned a little bit about capoeira, and learned a little bit about who we are. It's been an absolute pleasure coming again, Mike. Let's say goodbye.
Hello. Hang on a second, guys. Keep talking. I just need 2 minutes from you. Just talk to me for 2 minutes.
So, thanks very much for everyone who's joined. Today is a special day. We're allowed to go out, so we can get some fresh air. Make sure you do it. I'm going to go to the beach. Woohoo! And go and enjoy myself on the beach where capoeira comes from. There's lots of songs in capoeira about the sea, about the tide, about the beach. So I'm going to take my musical instruments, get out there, play, practice, enjoy, see the people around, paddle in the sea. So I hope you guys are going to get out and do something awesome after, of course, this amazing event that Nick's organised.
Thank you, guys. Put a shout out to all the people like you, because I know you're not alone. Liverpool is a culturally rich city. It's rich with people like you who've had the chance to go through the Blackie. The Blackie's struggling at the moment. The Blackie may not survive this recession. You know that. The Blackie may get turned into apartments. They could put some nice shops in there, knock it all down, start again. Maybe put a tower block in there. I don't know. If anybody in Liverpool cares about the Blackie, this is the time to tell everybody you care. If you're a creative carer, if you care about our art, if you care about creativity, if you care about kids, if you care about all our futures, because our future looks like this today, it looks like these two guys today, but last year, 10 years ago, there were kids at the Blackie. If you don't care about creativity, if you don't care about what young people like this are doing, let them build flats on the Blackie. Let them knock the Blackie down and put flats on that spot. Let's have a tower block to celebrate what used to happen at the Blackie. Let's knock it down and build a monument. Let's put a 40-floor tower block of apartments there to sell to Chinese investors. How about that, guys? What do you think? Does that sound like a plan?
Well, mate, if you know anything about Liverpool, you know that the people of Liverpool will not stand for that. Something so iconic as the Blackie, something ingrained in everyone's history, everyone's childhood. I think if they tried to do that, they'd have a fight on their hands.
Well, I'll tell you what then, let's start that fight here, right now. I want you to name check everybody you can think of in Liverpool who you think would sign a petition, who'd put their hand in the air and say, we believe in the Blackie, we believe in what Bill Harp and Wendy Harp have done, we believe in what that team have worked tirelessly to deliver. Just name check people, not to put them on the spot, but to celebrate them. I'll start you off. As Creative down in the Baltic. Love those guys. As Creative. Go on, tell us some names. Come on, put the shout out.
Movement.
Yeah, Movement, an amazing partner of ours here. An organisation called Katumba, a Samba Blocho. They've got over 100 members, and I guarantee those guys wouldn't let something like that happen.
Liverpool John Moores University, the art school there, they're passionate, they're up for it. LIPA, Liverpool Institute of Performing Arts. Come on, let's get some names out. Let's roll this crowd. Come on, let's shout out to everybody. Dot Art.
Organisations, we're based here in John Archer Hall, which we have a lovely community venue where we have, you know, a range of different organisations who deliver, a range of different things for positive social change. And I think every organisation within this building would support that, and I think it's really important. It is a part of our history. It is a part of our.
Come on, then let's have some names. How about Ricky Tomlinson? What's that lovely community centre he runs?
Toxteth TV,
all the guys there.
The Flow,
the Met Youth Centre, the Unity Youth Centre, the Belvedere Community Centre up the road.
What about that place? What about Ricky Tomlinson's place?
Up the road.
What about Ricky?
The Anglican Church. I imagine they wouldn't mess around. We've got the biggest bell tower in the whole of the world, and it's sitting right on our doorstep. And if there's any trouble, they're going to ring those bells. Rally the people.
What about the Green Room? The Green Room down there on the Green Room, the social club, Ricky's old place.
Yeah, the Green Room. Look, Nick, the bottom line is that, of course, people and powers bigger than us, and people and powers with more money and more whack than us are going to do the things that they're going to do. But at the end of the day, you know, as is happening at the moment in America, when people are coming together and saying no more, when we do come together, when we do get behind an idea and a vision, which is more than just us individually, which is not about just making money and pushing on and doing more, which is about us coming together for the bigger human reasons, then when we do that and when we do get together, nothing will stop us. And like I said, Liverpool's got a history of standing up for itself. It's got a history of resistance to the ideas that will push people down and make them feel like they're nothing. And yeah, we could keep going and keep name dropping, but at the end of the day, you know, Liverpool is a place where the people, when they've done what they've needed to do, like, you know, the Hillsborough families have attested to their incredible hard work. When they've got to put the work in and do what they do, you know, nothing stops us. So mate, no, it's a good mission. I hope that never happens. I hope that whoever's putting that in place, you know, never gets it through. But even if they do, even if we are knocked down, even if we do make a shipwreck, we'll build another ship, we'll keep going, you know, and they've got a fight on their hands if that's what they want to do. And with you as a sounding board, mate, it's getting out there and they've got a battle.
You don't need a gobshite Londoner to help you guys. You can sort that out yourselves. I tell you what.
Mate, of course.
You've got some big guns. You've got McCartney. You've got the Beatles lot. You've got Peter Hooton, who's a cultural ambassador. You've got Keith Mullen. You've got the lot. You've got the Farm. That's a fighting tune if I ever heard one. All together now. That's an amnesty. And do you know what this lock-in is for me? Don't you ever call me a lockdown. Nobody locks us down. They can lock us in. They can shut the door for a few months, but they are not locking artists down. You're doing what you do in that room. You're not down. You're up. You're fighting. You're out. You're celebrating. You're connecting. You know, and I believe that this has given us a time to consider life, the values that we have, the things we value, and to bring us back together. And you're demonstrating that. And I think this is a bloody good thing. I think it stopped us to make us stop and think, because you're busy. Community interest companies, you're flat out. You're paying the rent. You're paying yourself. You're looking after your families, your childcare. Everybody's had that moment to take stock, and I've barely seen my family. I feel awful because this is flat out, but we're building a future here for ourselves and all our children, you know, and that's really important to me. Guys, I just can't thank you enough for what you're doing here. It's just unbelievable. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure to work with you, and a pleasure to hear how passionate you are about, you know, these things. It really is, mate. You inspire us. And thanks for the opportunity to work together. It's been such a pleasure.
This is not the last time. This is Art Connects last year. It's Collaborate this year. Next year we're doing #Inspiration21. 2022, the government have £120 million for a national festival of creativity called Festival 22. A lot of people are saying it's a Brexit festival. Anybody who gets involved is supporting a Tory government. I don't believe that. We all have 80% in common. Everybody has 80% in common. I've got a lot in common with Dominic Cummings. I think he's responsible and has a lot to say about the creativity crisis, the education crisis, the health crisis, the democracy crisis. He's got a lot to say about that, but he's also a dad, and there's some good there. We've got to find the good, focus on that, and come together as one. In 2022, we're coming out fighting for art and creativity. The government have got £120 million. They can spend £110 million on rockets, on fireworks, on big wheels, but they've got to give people like you and us at grassroots some of that money to do what we do best. And you guys do it in Liverpool. We're doing it in London, across the country. We've got to come together. We've got to collaborate. Guys, massive fist bump to you. Thanks so much. One love. You are amazing. We're going to be doing this on a regular basis.
Nice
Stay
one,
strong.
Nick,
Stay safe.
Nice one, Nick, mate.
Lovely.
All the best.
Lovely to see these guys. A few years ago, we went to Liverpool, and this is what happened. Unbelievable. No audio. Where's the audio for that gone? Where's the audio gone for that?
Here's to the crazy ones, the mischief, the rebels and the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things different. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo.
You can praise them, disagree with them, quote them, disbelieve them, glorify or vilify them.
But the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things.
They invent, they imagine.
They heal, they explore, they create, they inspire. They push the human race forward. Maybe they have to be crazy.
How else can you stare at an empty canvas and see a work of art?
Or sit in silence and hear a song what has never been written. Or gaze at a red planet and see a laboratory on wheels. While some may seem them as crazy ones, we see genius.
Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
When I got up this morning, I had no intention of playing that film because I'd forgotten I'd made it. I can honestly say I'd forgotten I made it because I had no idea. Just unbelievable connections, Liverpool. That was an event we did 5 years ago, which was funded at the last minute by Google. Nishma Rob at Google found the money and gave us the money to film and produce that event. It was going to be cancelled. Hardly anybody turned up. Hardly anybody's watching this now, but I know that social media will reach and push it out. There's a bit of echo there. Let's turn the audio off on the telly. Is that better? Better? Bop, bop, bop. There's a phrase a lot of people use. I'm not going to lie, but we're on a bit of a back foot. So we're rushing around, showing a couple of repeats there, but for BBC you can do it weekend. And when you've got repeats as good as that, then there's no shame in that. So we're going to cut off now and come back at 3, back to normal programming. In the meantime, do download our programme. Your Glasto, the programme, it tells you what's on tonight. In fact, I'm probably going to do a little preview of that. So I'm going to shut down, I'm going to close the stream, and then we'll come back in a few seconds just for a very quick preview for what's on tonight, and we'll take it from there. But thank you very much for checking us out this morning.